Island-wide. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
nationwide time 5 o'clock.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The temperature by Pure Water is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robeanne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the OUR has threatened to impose sanctions on JPS if it fails to restore electricity to all customers by August 12.
Enough time has elapsed for JPS to have fully grasped the extent and nature of the damage and disruption to its network, that these are achievable targets.
And Energy Minister Darrell Vaz is calling on the OUR to revise JPS's decision to restart disconnection of electricity after August 15.
I find it highly unreasonable, uncaring, insensitive that a date like that could have been put forward.
The Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says difficulties that contribute to lengthy delays in court is not solely the government's fault.
A potential tropical cyclone is expected to bring heavy showers and thunderstorms over Jamaica this weekend.
Scottish sisters have apologized to Jamaicans for their ancestors' role in the slave trade.
In news from the rest of the world, Venezuela Electoral Council says 97% of votes tallied affirms Maduro winner.
The United States has warned that a famine in Sudan is on pace to be the deadliest in decades.
In headline sports, Jamaica's athletes experienced mixed results on day 10 of the Paris Olympics.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, should the Jury Act be amended to allow only a judge to continue a trial where the jury is compromised? We'll be joined by attorney Clyde Williams and director at Jamaicans for Justice Kenyatta Powell.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what are your medal predictions for Jamaica at the Paris Olympics? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
At 7, it's Paris Connections with Wayne Walker.
And at 8, it's the A-Team with Dennis Brooks.
We'll have all these and more as we take you home on air, on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Friday afternoon, it's Friday, August 2, 2024.
News at 5 is brought to you by Fostrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The Office of Utilities Regulations, the OUR, is threatening to impose sanctions on the Jamaica Public Service Company Limited, JPS, if it fails to restore electricity to all customers by August 12. In a statement issued on Friday, the utility regulator says the move is based on the fact that the company has missed previously established timelines in its post-Hurricane Beryl response. Shalois Michael has the story.
The OUR says that except for areas specified as inaccessible, JPS is mandated to stick to the latest schedule to repair network infrastructure damaged caused by the passage of Hurricane Beryl a month ago. The OUR says failure to comply with the directive within the time specified will render JPS liable to enforcement action. This will be pursuant to Section 9 of the Office of Utilities Regulation Act. According to Section 9, the regulator may write to the licensee to take specified remedial action. Failure to comply is an offense which comes with a fine not exceeding $2 million. OUR Director General Ansard Hewitt says in all its engagements with JPS, it has conveyed the expectation for the company to expedite restoration to all affected customers.
In our last meeting with JPS on Monday, July 29, it assured us that all service would be fully restored by August 12, even in the most critically damaged areas. The OUR is satisfied that at this point, enough time has elapsed for JPS to have fully grasped the extent and nature of the damage and disruption to its network, the available resources, and the practicable timeline for restoration. We therefore expect that these are achievable targets.
The OUR head says where possible, JPS should shorten the deadline period.
We are aware that these dates are very little comfort to customers who have been without service since July 3, and so we have urged the company to take every possible step, including the engagement of additional resources, to better these dates.
Hurricane Beryl blew past Jamaica on July 3, leaving thousands of JPS customers without electricity. To date, some JPS customers remain without service. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Energy Minister Darrell Vaz is calling on the OUR to revise JPS's decision to restart disconnection of electricity after August 15. JPS says it has not disconnected any of its customers for non-payment of bills since the passage of Hurricane Beryl. The grace period is expected to continue until Thursday, August 15. However, Minister Vaz says based on the August 12 timeline given to JPS to restore power to all its customers, the August 15 deadline to resume disconnections for non-payment of bills is unreasonable.
I find it highly unreasonable, uncaring, insensitive that a date like that could have been put forward, and I'm calling on the JPS and the OUR to revise what JPS put out in their statement after rescinding the estimated bills, to make sure that renegotiations are done and that ample time for the affected customers are given to them to be able to restore their lives and their livelihoods without the pressure of an excessive JPS bill to face them while going through so much other trials and tribulations.
Darrell Vaz, Energy Minister. JPS has noted that it will continue to facilitate flexible payment arrangements for customers who need extensions on their due dates.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the difficulties that contribute to lengthy delays for trials and retrials cannot be blamed solely on the government. He's reacting to one of the factors cited by the Court of Appeal for its unwillingness to allow dancehall artist Vybz Kartel and his former co-accused to be put on trial again for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. Minister Chuck says the judiciary should be more stringent in requiring trials to be concluded swiftly in line with constitutional requirements. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Marva MacDonald Bishop, delivered the court's decision freeing Kartel and his friends on Wednesday. According to her, the inordinate time it would take for Kartel and his co-accused to again go through the court system factored heavily in their decision not to order a retrial.
The court looks at the lapse of time between the commission of the alleged offense and the likely time in which a new trial would take place, which would, in our estimation, be at least 15 years. We find that to be inordinate. 6, the unjustifiable interference with the appellant's constitutional rights to a fair hearing within a reasonable time under Section 16 of the Constitution of Jamaica, and the potential for that breach or interference, we should say, continuing if a new trial is ordered.
During the hearings for the case, Justice MacDonald Bishop similarly expressed her discomfort with the fact that 2 other murder cases sent back to the Supreme Court in the last 6 years were yet to be retried. Members of civil society have called for reform in the justice system in order to allow quicker trials. However, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says trial delays are not solely the fault of the government.
This is not necessarily a matter for the government. In terms of a constitutional position, I believe firstly that a trial should be conducted within 5 years. And if the trial is not conducted within 5 years, it should be dismissed, in my view, for a breach of the Constitution. When it comes to a retrial, if it is not done within 24 months, in my view, it should be dismissed for want of constitutionality. So that I am surprised to hear various views being expressed that retrials are taking longer than 4 years. If that was the case, then the retrials should never be reordered, and I suspect that that was one of the reasons why in the Kartel's case the judges took that position.
The Justice Minister says it is the same judiciary that must take a strong stance against the inordinate delays.
The executive and the legislature can't impose time and administrative matters on the judiciary. The judiciary has to take a strong position. If it says that a trial must be held within 3 years, and if it dismisses cases that are not held within 3 years, then it is for the executive, which the DPP is a part of, then we must make sure that the arrangements can be put in place so that trials can be held within 3 years.
But Mr. Chuck believes the government, in concert with prosecutors and law enforcement, should improve investigative capacity to ensure trials can begin as quickly as possible.
My view is that the executive must put in place the necessary investigation, collation of documents from the forensic labs, etc., so that the cases can be dealt with within 3 years. At the end of the day, if in fact we don't have enough judges and courts to try the cases, then that's a matter that the executive must deal with. But to the best of my knowledge, we have more than enough judges and courts that if the cases are ready, they can be tried.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, residents of Waterford in Portmore St. Catharines say they have high hopes for dancehall artist Vybz Kartel, who spent the last 13 years behind bars. On Wednesday, Kartel and Sean Campbell, Andre St. John and Kehira Jones were acquitted for the 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams. After a lengthy legal battle, the Court of Appeal determined that a retrial would not be in the interest of justice. It's been 2 days since the judgment, and Kartel, Campbell and St. John have been living a free life. Jones is still behind bars pending another court matter. Robian Williams reports.
Every day so me just a pray say me want go.
Freedom Street is what he and his fans have been calling for, and now it's a reality. Kartel, Campbell and St. John were released from the Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility in downtown Kingston on Wednesday. Since then, videos and pictures have been circulating on social media showing the trio celebrating their freedom with families and friends. Already, Kartel has released a new 12-track compilation of songs entitled First Week Out. In his hometown of Waterford in Portmore, a section commonly referred to as Gaza City, the residents say they're hoping he'll use his second chance wisely. One resident says he's hoping Kartel will bring unity and stability to the community.
You know, he talks about it a lot. Not getting to fulfill some of the things that he wants to do. I think that's supposed to be the first on his agenda. Bringing back a community that is in turmoil. Building things in the community that can probably move people forward. The kids especially. Learning process community in terms of internet, cafe and all of these things more free that the youth can balance. Going forward, that would be one of the best moves. Trying to bring the community back to a stability where people can look forward to, where we can keep things here for fun. I think he has that power. It's just that he has to know how to guide and govern that power in which he has.
Others say Kartel is a father figure to many of the youngsters in the community. A resident, Annette Rose, says she's hoping the artist will give his life to God.
No man knows, but I know God love him. I know God going to give him a second chance. He knows. God wants him and God going to use him. I said God needs him, Holy Ghost. And I just need him to just talk to God after him own Holy Spirit. Because only God alone can deliver him. But he got to do what he got to do with God.
While exiting the correctional facility on Wednesday, Kartel issued this message to wayward youth.
Tell you them to stay out of crime, brethren. You know, worth it. A waste of life, a waste of time, brethren.
All eyes are now set on the self-styled world boss and his new journey on Freedom Street.
Prison life, never nice. Prison life, I know nothing like paradise.
Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rent-to-Kill Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rent-to-Kill Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rent-to-Kill is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 out west in Montego Bay.
Focused on you. Hey, family, friends, passion, joy. We're focused on you. Focus on life, focus on love, focus on health. And all the above. Imperial Optical is focused on you. So focused. Hey, Imperial Optical Jamaica, focused on you. From Taurus Riley.
We all have a champion spirit, a uniquely Jamaican spirit. We think the unthinkable and reach for the unreachable. The steady pulse of greatness beats in us all. As powerful as we are, there comes a time when everybody needs a strength. Something to take you over that last hurdle and across the finish line. Your moment is now. Unstoppable with NCB.
Dear residents, we understand that some of you are currently facing great inconvenience being without electricity. Due to the damage affecting your supply, the process to restore power will take some time. Rest assured, however, that we are doing our very best to ensure everyone is reconnected as quickly and as safely as possible. We kindly ask for your continued patience and understanding during this challenging time. JPS, committed to getting your service back as soon as possible.
Continuing the news, Jamaicans can continue to expect heavy showers and thunderstorms over the weekend as a potential tropical cyclone moves across the Caribbean. According to the Met Office, the weather disturbance is now over central Cuba. It says the cyclone is about 505 kilometers southeast of Key West, Florida. The Met Office says the disturbance is expected to move over Cuba today, cross the Straits of Florida on Saturday, and then move near or over the west coast of Florida by Sunday. It says the tropical cyclone is expected to develop into a tropical depression on Saturday as it moves across the Straits of Florida. It's expected to intensify into a tropical storm by Saturday night. The Met Office says most parishes should expect periods of moderate to heavy showers and thunderstorms up to Saturday. It's urging fishers and other marine interests to exercise caution as sea conditions will deteriorate due to thunderstorms and strong gusty winds. The National Hurricane Center in the U.S. is also monitoring the system.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government is to begin distribution of hurricane barrel relief checks on Monday. Speaking today, Mr. Holness says it's anticipated to complete total handing out over the next 3 to 4 weeks.
I'm happy to report that come Monday, we will start the distribution of the grants for those persons who suffered total loss of their house. And we will be doing, on Monday morning, we will be having handing over ceremony for the grants to some of the beneficiaries. Of course, these grants will be handed out to the persons assessed over the next few weeks, and we hope to complete the total handing out within the next 3 to 4 weeks, so that all Jamaicans who have been assessed as having suffered damage would be able to start their recovery.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The move follows a commitment by the Holness administration to ensure assistance is granted to those who have been severely affected by the storm that brushed Jamaica's south coast on July 3. The Prime Minister notes that the government worked to deliver on its commitment to help families build back ahead of the new school year. Beneficiaries of Monday's exercise are persons deemed to have completely lost their homes. Those persons will receive a grant of $400,000.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says efforts are being made to develop the JCF's Community Security and Safety Branch to prevent young people from being recruited by criminals on the island.
When I'm aware you are currently pursuing development of the expansion of the Community Security Safety Branch, development of school resource officers to ensure we can begin to reach the young ones, teenagers so to speak, and get them to begin to make the change so we don't have the same volume coming up on the renewal of the criminal network. What we want is to stop the recruitment by criminals who have resources, who are desperate and maintaining a level of mayhem and disorder. That's where they make their money. But as we take them out of the scene, we are going to ensure that there is no renewal by, in fact, getting involved with our younger population.
Dr. Chang was giving the main address at a handover ceremony of motor vehicles to the JCF on Wednesday. He noted that police personnel will be assigned to work with the Education Ministry to reach the younger population.
The move by the police to broaden this, and you will have the assigned officers out there to work with the Ministry of Education, the Social Security Service officers, etc., and lead a team in challenged communities to ensure we can reduce not only the operational activity of the gangs, but the renewal that they do by victimize, literally recruiting our less privileged kids. We're going to ensure that the services provided through the Ministry of Education and other agencies of government will reach these individuals, and therefore we can prevent that.
Dr. Horace Chang, National Security Minister.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Venezuela's National Electoral Council, CNE, has reaffirmed that incumbent President Nicolas Maduro won Sunday's presidential election. At a press conference on Friday, the NCE's president, Elvis Amoroso, revealed that 97% of votes have now been tallied. According to him, President Maduro received just under 52% of the ballots. The NCE's announcement comes even as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said there's overwhelming evidence that Venezuela's opposition won the elections. In a statement also on Friday, Mr. Blinken said, given the overwhelming evidence, it's clear to the United States and most importantly to the Venezuelan people that Edmundo Gonzalez won the most votes in the July 28 polls. The Secretary of State's intervention comes as the presidents of Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia all called on Venezuela to release the full details of last Sunday's election. The opposition says its tally of about 90% of the votes shows Gonzalez received more than double the support of the incumbent president, in line with the independent polling conducted before the contest.
U.S. officials are warning that famine at one of the sprawling camps for war-displaced people in Sudan's Darfur region is growing uncontrollable. They say the famine threatens to grow bigger and deadlier than the world's last major famine 13 years ago. The U.S. Agency for International Development, the UN World Food Programme, and other independent and government humanitarian agencies have intensified calls for a ceasefire and aid access across Sudan. International experts in the Famine Review Committee formally confirmed on Thursday that the starvation in at least one of three giant makeshift camps, holding up to 600,000 people displaced by Sudan's more than year-long war, had grown into a full famine. The last major famine in Somalia was estimated to have killed 250,000 people in 2011, half of them children under 5 years old.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the government is to begin distribution of Hurricane Beryl relief checks on Monday.
OUR threatens to impose sanctions on JPS if it fails to restore electricity to all customers by August 12.
And the Energy Minister says the OUR is to revise the JPS's decision to restart disconnection of electricity after August 15.
I find it highly unreasonable, uncaring, insensitive that a date like that could have been put forward
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says difficulties that contribute to lengthy delays for trials and retrials is not solely the government's fault.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by Fosrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
Together we're our people standing strong. 3 million Jamaicans, let's work as one. Such a course and work with a plan. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. Every Jamaican have the heart of a champion. Such a core, big up with champions. Watch my style, watch my skill, watch my flow. Standing out anywhere where we go. Many goals, many dreams, many strides. On the black, green and gold, and we pride. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. We are strong when we are one, Sagicor, celebrating Jamaican success.
Jamaica, it's here again. Fosrich Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off the summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Fosrich Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Fosrich. Open Sundays.
Good afternoon with your sports report. I am Alric Swiby. Now Jamaica's athletes experienced mixed fortunes on day 10 of the Paris Olympics. Wayne Walker is in Paris and filed this report.
Go in 2-1-0. In easily the most impressive opening round to the women's 100 meters at any global championships, 7 women dipped below 11 seconds. Jamaica's Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price was one of them. She did 10.92 seconds for second in the final heat, which was won in the day's fastest time by Marie-Josée Toulouse of the Ivory Coast, who won in 10.87 seconds. Jamaica's other 2 entrants, Tia Clayton, 11 seconds flat, and Sasha Lee Forbes, 11.19 seconds, are also through to the semifinals. Natoya Gould-Toppin produced a good front-running performance to win the final heat in the women's 800 meters in 1 minute 58.66 seconds and thinks she's in prime form to strike.
It was wonderful out there. The track felt great, and I'm feeling good, knowing that it's been so hot, but I've been hydrating and I slight headache afterwards, but that always happens whenever I run fast. And so I'm just looking forward for the next round. I think this is my fastest opener at a championship, so I'm really excited about it.
Adele Tracy was 7th in her heat in 2 minutes 03.47 seconds, but will have another chance to qualify for the next round on Saturday in the repechage. This was Tracy's first 800 meters of the season, and she says her priority is the 1500 meters, which she has coming up later on in the championship.
This is part of my process towards that. We wanted to come do the 8, see what we could do, blow the cobwebs away, and that's the case with me just getting some more races in before the 1500, getting some overspeed so that the 15 feels a little bit easier. Very much looking forward to it, but tomorrow I've got another job to do, so I'm going to take that opportunity.
The mixed 4x400 meters relay team of Raheem Hales, Janelle Bloomfield, Stephanie Ann McPherson and Zandrian Barnes clocked a new national record, 3 minutes 11.06 seconds, to finish 4th in their heat and are through to tomorrow's final.
Actually, the first one is the hardest, so tomorrow will be much better, and we know we can do it. If each of us play our part, definitely we can get a medal.
That's Stephanie Ann McPherson. The United States broke the world record to win Jamaica's heat in 3 minutes 07.41 seconds. Lamar Distin failed to clear 1 meter 92 and fell out of contention for a place in the women's high jump final with 1 meter 88. The nation's record holder, Rajendra Campbell, did not extend himself and easily qualified for the final of the men's shot put with 21 meters 05.
It's not what's done in the prelims, it's what's done in the finals. The goal is to
make it through and reach that accomplishment. So I'm okay with the performance. Just tomorrow I got to come out and I got to come up better ready to start my I'm excited about it, but you can't rejoice until the job is over. So let's take a step at a time. Step one wants to get to the finals, though I have a chance tomorrow. Just to make the most of it.
No such luck for Samantha Hall in the women's discus after throwing 54 meters 94. In the pool, Josh Curlew logged 54.66 seconds for fifth in his heat of the men's 100 meters butterfly.
I achieved everything I set out to. I hit all my posted scores, same number of light strokes, reading time on the board I intended to. If I didn't get the time, the result I wanted, it's the same thing as whether I did. If I'm getting, I'm going to try 10 times harder than I got in the training. First thing when I get back.
From the French capital Paris, site of the 2024 Olympic Games, Wayne Walker for Nationwide 90 FM, the exclusive radio broadcasters of the Games in Jamaica.
It's time for Olympic Corner. A look at the big happenings at the Paris 2024 Olympics.
Now, Slovakian swimmer Tamara Ptogova is receiving medical treatment after collapsing following her 200 meters medley heat at the Paris Olympics. Ptogova collapsed by the side of the pool where she received immediate medical care, including being given oxygen. The Slovakian team says she is an asthmatic and had an asthma attack. Ptogova is conscious and was able to communicate with doctors. She has been taken to hospital for further medical supervision. She finished 7th in her heat and missed out on a place in the semi-final.
That was Olympic Corner. A look at the big happenings at the Paris 2024 Olympics.
There you have it, Nationwide's Olympic Corner. I'm Alex Swiby, and that's your sports.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Shop with Hilo, it's so easy, no hassle, no more online. Shop with Hilo, Hilo online delivers to your door. Safe and secure when you're online, debit or credit card, pay online. And if you're busy all day, Hilo makes it easy.
Now you can download the Hilo app, visit HiloFoodStoresJA.com and pay for your foods online using a debit or credit card, locally or overseas, and have them delivered from selected locations in Jamaica.
Hilo, it's so easy, pay and it's done with Hilo online. Shop with Hilo, Hilo at your fingertips.
Me, busy as usual, so I don't have no time for whole heap of paperwork. That's why I downloaded and signed up for my One JN Passport app. It's a whole new level of convenience and access to services within the JN Financial Group. Just a few taps on my smartphone and box. I can update my personal information, open a JN Bank savings account, and even apply for an unsecured loan. Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The One JN Passport app. JN will help you find a way.
Jamaica, Jamaica, it's here again. Phosphorage, a super summer sale. July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off this summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Phosphorage Super Summer Sale. July 1 to August 31. See you there at Phosphorage. Open Sundays.
My name is Kedrin Campbell.
I come from the Appleton Basic School. My favorite Olympic hero is Shelly and Fraser Price.
Watch for Shelly and Fraser Price.
Looking back now, I say there's no barrier when it comes to your passion and your calling as time honors your greatness. So I thank you so much, and I pray that you'll be an inspiration to all young girls, mainly the girls, to know that there's no limits when you believe what you believe and continue to work hard. We are strong, we are powerful, and most importantly, we are fearless.
It's glorious gold once again to Shelly and Fraser Price.
Stay tuned to the Paris Olympic on Nationwide 90 FM. Yeah!
It's 5:35 this Friday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's the cover story. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And I am Sanjay Lewis.
Hello, Sanjay.
Hi, Ricardo. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you, my friend?
I am great. I'm great.
Good, good. Listeners, we hope we find you well as well. Hello to you if you're joining us on radio. Hello to you if you're joining us on the app. And a very good afternoon to our friends on YouTube. All right, let's get into it now. The recent acquittal of dancehall star Vybz Kartel and 3 of his former co-accused, Sean Storm Campbell, Kahira Jones, and Andre St. John, has again raised questions about whether or not the country's Jury Act needs to be amended.
In March this year, Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, Paula Llewellyn, said the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions was in the final stage of drafting a recommendation for a crucial amendment to the Jury Act. That amendment would allow for a judge to proceed with a bench trial where a jury has been tampered with.
We have it in draft. We're just doing a little bit more research, and we should do it by the end of this week. And let me make it quite clear. It is a common situation where sometimes the defense bar do it with the Bar Association. We may, as we did with the Firearms Act the other day, the new Firearms Act, we saw certain gaps because we are the practitioners in court. And we saw that there needed to be more refinement in 1 or 2 areas. And we make recommendations to the Ministry of Justice indicating what we saw happening on the ground or in the trenches in court and why we believe we would need to have some amendment.
The DPP there, Paula Llewellyn, she said the proposed amendment would adopt the practice in England which allows the judge to continue without a jury where irregularities are discovered.
Speaking on Nationwide this morning, the DPP, Ms. Llewellyn, said the recommendation would help to improve the administration of justice in Jamaica.
I have deliberately stayed away from making any public comment about the judgment, save and except in respect of that narrow area of law where the possibility of the amendment to the Jury Act to replicate Section 46 of the particular legislation, which was referred to by the Privy Council in their judgment, would, I believe, go a far way in enhancing the administration of justice in Jamaica.
DPP Paula Llewellyn. With us now to discuss further, we're being joined by Attorney at Law Clyde Williams and Attorney at Law and Director at Jamaicans for Justice Kenyatta Powell. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Blessed love.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. Clyde Williams, let me start with you. It's been, 4 months now since the Privy Council handed down that ruling. Are you surprised that the Parliament has not taken any steps to bring those amendments to the House?
I'm sorry. I don't know how to respond to that, honestly. We know the Parliament can act quickly, as in the case of the extension amendment for the DPP and the Auditor General, when they brought a bill and it was all accomplished in one sitting. So we know they can. As to why they have not gone ahead and done it, I really can't answer that. But what we do know is that they can. I also want to add that it is not just the question of when there is contamination during the trial itself. Mm-hmm. If you have a look at the English statute referenced by the Privy Council and by the DPP just a while ago, you will see that there is a chapter that deals with several aspects. So, for instance, intimidation prior to the trial itself. An application could be made by the prosecution and so on. So there are a variety of circumstances that arise. So I wouldn't want us to be just narrowly focused on when it arises during the trial itself. I'll just say that the government can do it when they want to do it. And it's been 4 months plus.
Kenyatta, your take on it, because the situation with Adidja Palmer and his co-accused, that some would have indicated was unique and it was a mistake by the judge. Don't you think that our judges would have learned from this matter and that alone would prevent it from happening again?
So I think it's important for us to be clear about, just briefly about what exactly happened and where exactly the case was when the bombshell happened. So what happened was that the case was at the point where the judge was almost finished with his summation. And what the summation is that after the prosecution has presented its evidence and the defense has presented its evidence and the defense and the prosecution have made their closing argument, the judge must basically sum up what has happened in the trial for the jury and give the jury certain instructions as to, what the law is, what their duties are, how they're supposed to discharge their duties, right? So essentially the judge was near the end of his summation, his summing up. It to be notified at that point in time that the situation had arisen, and apparently had arisen for at least a couple months, right? So that it was one of the most unfortunate situations that could have happened. And at that point and what the Privy Council essentially said is that when something like this happens, despite where you are in the case, despite how long it took to put the case together, how long the trial itself took, despite the fact that you were you are almost finished with your summation, what the Privy Council has said is that that case, you must discharge that jury because that jury would have become so contaminated that the accused persons would not be able to get a fair trial. So that I am not eager to say that the judge made a mistake. I'm not eager to say that the judge made a mistake because you see there are arguments about the soundness of the Privy Council's judgment itself, right? The Privy Council is our final court, and so what they say goes. What concerns me is that the Privy Council, having made this ruling and being the final court, having made this ruling, what they've essentially laid down is what is the law in Jamaica in relation to this situation and similar types of situations. And the failure of our elected representatives to act, right, to amend statute in order to respond to what the Privy Council has said is the law, strikes me as malpractice.
We should tell our listeners that we did invite the Justice Minister, who told us that they are working on it, and so he's not prepared to talk about it just yet. But Clyde Williams, help our listeners to understand the harms, if any, that you see with this lacuna, this loophole that exists now.
The reasoning is that if a judge can isolate one juror who may have, approached for a bribe, that is one thing. So you can have a trial where the tainting and the contamination is not deep and wide, so the judge can deal with that by isolating that one person, removing them from the panel. Where it is deep and wide, as Kenyatta just pointed out, then the only way we can ensure that persons who have committed crime don't engineer a situation near to the end of a trial where a judge then has to discharge an entire jury because of this deep contamination. Remember, I'm using my words carefully. Persons who know they have committed crimes, those persons will have an inducement, an incentive, as it were, to engineer a situation, not only through bribery, but through intimidation. So I don't want us to think that it's only one way you can contaminate the jury. You can contaminate through intimidation as well.
And hold on, Clyde, just because I want to make sure our listeners understand very clearly. So, if, for example, somebody knows somebody's sitting on a jury, and they walk up to them downtown and say something like, "Hey, boy, watch your head back," and just walk away, things like that could be construed as intimidation.
Well, that is intimidation in relation to if the person refers to the particular trial and how them dealing with the trial and so on. Now, that can spread. In other words, you could have conceivably somebody reach half of a jury pool, or not the jury, or the whole entire jury, whether by using money or intimidation. So the British position is that they deal with a variety of circumstances. The point I'm making is that contamination of jury is not just limited to the question of bribery allegations.
Right.
There may be other circumstances that may arise. And unless we plug that loophole, we could, and I'm not commenting on the cartel situation, I'm commenting on matters going forward. Someone guilty of serious crime could decide, say, I am going to contaminate this jury by ensuring that my lackeys either threaten or my lackeys either seek to bribe and bribe sufficient numbers so that there has to be a discharge of the trial, the jury at this point in the trial and so on. It is a huge hole, and I agree with Kenyatta. I wouldn't call it malpractice since they're really not practicing. But I know what he means. The severity of them not acting expeditiously is a problem we face right now. And remember, since about 1992, the Privy Council said we were to have some disclosure rules. Right now, we don't even have legislated disclosure rules, as in what circumstances must the prosecution disclose, what statements they must disclose, what's happening when malpractice takes place on disclosure. And this is from 1992, thereabouts, where the Privy Council said our governments are notoriously slow in bringing to Parliament legislation that serves the best interest of the citizens of this country. Notoriously slow. And again, I remind you, they can get it done if they want to get it done. The financial acts that were passed by the PNP were passed very quickly. And again, I remind you of the recent DPP amendment situation, and the Auditor General came to Parliament one day. And this was a constitutional amendment.
Hold it there for us. We're up on the break. After the break, want to return to the question of whether sequestering juries is an option in Jamaica. The DPP at the time in March, he dismissed it out of hand. Want to hear you both gentlemen on that after the break.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real one. My island, we a world champion with my KFC, I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
We all have a champion spirit, a uniquely Jamaican spirit. We think the unthinkable and reach for the unreachable. The steady pulse of greatness beats in us all. As powerful as we are, there comes a time when everybody needs a strength. Something to take you over that last hurdle and across the finish line. Your moment is now. Unstoppable with NCB.
Jamaica, it's here again. Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off the summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Phosphorage. Open Sundays.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Sanjay Lewis.
We have with us attorney at law Clyde Williams, attorney at law and director at Jamaicans for Justice Kenyatta Powell. This matter of an amendment that was recommended by the DPP back in March, an amendment to the Jury Act to ensure that the integrity of the jury system is maintained. Kenyatta Powell, the question was put to the DPP at the time as to whether consideration should be given to sequestering jurors as a way of ensuring that they're not contaminated for the duration of a trial. She wasn't convinced that that was something that would work in Jamaica. How do you see it?
I have to tell you that I'm not convinced about it either. And I'll tell you why. The principle of trial by jury is that, so whenever people ask me to explain what trial by jury is, I always say to them that the principle of trial by jury is that the justice system gets together a group of ordinary people in society, ordinary people in the community, right? And the evidence in the case is to be presented to those ordinary people, and they have to decide if they are convinced beyond a reasonable doubt if I saw it go, right? So the emphasis is on the ordinary people, right? So ordinary people have lives. So a jury may consist of one woman, there may be a woman on the jury who has 3 children, for whom she might be a single parent, or even if she isn't a single parent. So jurors have children. Jurors also have elderly parents that they must take care of. Sometimes they're taking care of elderly people who aren't their parents. It might be an aunt or an uncle or a friend of the family. Ordinary people have lives, and they have things going on in their lives. And I think that it would be grossly unfair to those people for us to have a system where sequestering them becomes more of the norm. So that no, I don't think it would work, given that, as I've said, people have lives. So when you sequester a person who, for instance, has to on a daily basis has to care for an elderly relative, what happens to that relative? Often there is nobody else to care for that person. So there are those practical considerations. But what I would also say is that I am not sure, given the things that Clyde and I have been talking about. So not just jury tampering by way of bribery, but also a number of other things, including intimidation. You don't have to intimidate the juror specifically. You can intimidate a family member. You can intimidate a spouse, a child. Right? So that I'm not sure that sequestering them
would solve that problem.
Would solve that problem unless what we say is that immediately when the trial starts, they're just going to be sequestered and they're not going to have any access to communications to the outside, so that they can't be alerted to the fact that maybe a member of the family is being threatened because of the work that they're doing in the trial. So no, I just don't think I'm not sure that that would work to solve the issues. It would be too much of an imposition, I think, on the lives of ordinary people, and I don't think it would solve a lot of the problems that crop up when we talk about jury tampering.
Hear you.
Let me hear you, Clyde Williams. How do you see us solving that problem, that of jury tampering and intimidation?
I accept the arguments made by Kenyatta a while ago concerning the practical difficulties sequestering jurors could have on the lives of those persons. In this case, we're talking, it was in the recent case, so if you were to use it as an example, it was almost 70 days of trial. So you could have a situation where it's 10 weeks we're talking about sequestering. And what would you do in relation to access to social media and traditional media? So I do accept those practical, those arguments concerning those practical constraints. I am a believer, however, in having a mixed pot of solutions. So yes, it can't be something that is the norm, but I'd rather us have an option to do that rather than not have the option. Now, it may be we determine what would then trigger that option. And I would say only in exceptional circumstances we would trigger that option. So that would be clear how we draft that law. But I'd be happier, even if we use it only twice in 100 trials. But that trial could be a 7-day trial, a 2-week trial, a 4-week trial. But given the circumstances itself, it may be useful to do that. So my position is I accept the arguments made by Kenyatta in relation to the difficulties practically and the imposition on families. I do accept those arguments, but I like a mixed bag of options. And I would say we should legislate it and make sure that how we legislate the threshold, the trigger, is one that would only happen in exceptional circumstances defined on the statute. So that would be my position on it. Kenyatta made some points about intimidation of witnesses, intimidation of family members. Those are real issues in a crime-ridden society. So the context in which you are discussing jury tampering, jury interference, is a society where we have abnormal levels of serious crime, murders, gun shooting, rapes, robberies. We have abnormal numbers, per capita numbers of serious crime. So it's not a one thing fix all. It's a bag of solutions, a mix of solutions. It will cost the state, but it will cost the state much more in terms of its citizens being able to enjoy their lives free from violence and crime if we don't spend the money to organize these things, especially witness protection program, which right now in Jamaica is so weak it's not funny. And I think we need to beef up on witness protection program. And also I think we need to find a way, because remember, witnesses, if jurors are taking bus go home, a long trial, after a while and route taxi and then sitting there. So it's not sequestering now, but what assistance should the state lend to jurors who live in certain communities?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
then Clyde Williams, then I'm wondering now if the Chief Justice may not have a point, because he has raised concerns about the jury system. You know, they can't get jurors to turn up. Now we have the situation where people with ill intent are seeking to influence outcomes. You mentioned the security concerns. Doesn't he have a point? Maybe we should do away with it altogether and simply have bench trials alone.
Let me yield to Kenyatta, as I've been on for a little while talking, and then I'll come in.
All right, Kenyatta.
So let me be clear about JFJ's position on it. So JFJ's position is that the common law presumption that certain serious criminal offenses ought to be tried by a jury, that we should be slow to tamper with that, right? And that's my position also as a member of Jamaican Justice, because as I said about how I explain what juries do, it is about ordinary people being presented with the evidence and being asked to decide if I saw it go.
Right, so that's an ideal though, Kenyatta, but we live in an extraordinary circumstance, as Clyde properly outlined just now.
Yes, but and what Clive was good about, say, outlining a while ago, right, is that the state has to prioritize certain things. And what it has to prioritize, I think, is strengthening the jury system in the various ways that Clyde Clyde pointed out. So,
but even with that, but Kenyatta, but even with that, Clyde listed a litany of issues that exist. So even if we're strengthening the witness protection program that exists and all other things, we're seeing so many issues with the matter of constituting a jury. Should we just do away with it then?
No, man. But I think that a lot of the issues we have with constituting a jury is because of the lack of the kind of investment and putting in place the appropriate structures, the very things that Clyde is talking about. So, for instance, how do we ensure that that jurors are not on the bus and not on the route taxi every day going to and from court? That is something that government must spend on. How it is that we ensure that when people have to take time off work to do their civic duty as jurors, right? That they're given some sufficient monetary support in a way where jury service does not become detrimental to the finances of ordinary people. I think that what the state must do is to actually invest in creating a modern, efficient justice system and not simply to do away with long-standing protections like a jury trial, like having ordinary people assess the evidence put before them and decide if I saw it go. Because I think that is actually the better option that we have.
Hear you. Clyde, up on time. 1 minute for the response.
To answer that in a minute, I tend to agree with not getting rid of centuries-old practices that have proven to be true in the long haul of history, and that it is a lot more just to have 12 members of society, in my opinion, arriving at a verdict than rather having just one person with their biases and so on. So I would be very wary. I also agree quickly with Kenyatta that what we need to do is strengthen the provisions that we have now. So, for instance, it's not hard to get a bus to take home all the jury members who don't drive in at the end of every day. If we have to invest in that, we have to invest in that. But I fear going before one person. Now, for a criminal trial where facts, not law, where facts are the primary issues to be determined by the jury, not the law. If it's a civil trial, I understand. It's very different circumstances in a civil trial than a criminal trial. And then you say to me, but lots of all the drug charges and the forgery charges and the white are judge-only trials. And I will answer quickly. Yes, I answer quickly. But those trials involve a lot more law than just facts as to whether the man is stabbing a self-defense or provocation or identification. So I believe in having that mix. I will also add quickly that there are circumstances, I believe, that the prosecution may wish to apply for a bench trial, given intimidation of witnesses, given a variety of circumstances even before. So I do believe that we should also have in the law an opportunity for the prosecution, given the pre-trial run-up, and intimidation of witnesses and family members and so forth and so forth and so on, that they on that basis could then apply for a bench trial and a determination made. So I believe in that mix.
Clyde Williams, Kenyatta Powell, thank you so much for your insights. Really appreciate it, gents.
Blessed love.
All the best.
The headlines are next.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
3 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government is to begin distribution of Hurricane Beryl relief checks on Monday. Speaking on Friday, Mr. Holness says it's anticipated to complete total handing out over the next 3 to 4 weeks.
I'm happy to report that come Monday, we will start the distribution of the grants for those persons who suffered total loss of their house. And we will be doing, on Monday morning, we will be having handing over ceremony for the grants to some of the beneficiaries. Of course, these grants will be handed out to the persons assessed over the next few weeks, and we hope to complete the total handing out within the next 3 to 4 weeks, so that all Jamaicans who have been assessed as having suffered damage would be able to start their recovery.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, is threatening to impose sanctions on the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, if it fails to restore electricity to all affected customers by August 12. OUR Director General Ansed Hewitt says in all its engagements with JPS, it has conveyed the expectation for the company to expedite restoration to all affected customers.
In our last meeting with JPS on Monday, July 29, it assured us that all service would be fully restored by August 12, even in the most critically damaged areas. The OUR is satisfied that at this point, enough time has elapsed for JPS to have fully grasped the extent and nature of the damage and disruption to its network, the available resources, and the practicable timeline for restoration. We therefore expect that these are achievable targets.
The OUR head says where possible, JPS should shorten the deadline period.
We are aware that these dates are very little comfort to customers who have been without service since July 3. And so we have urged the company to take every possible step, including the engagement of additional resources, to better these dates.
Ansed Hewitt, OUR Director General. Meanwhile, Energy Minister Darrell Vaz is calling on the OUR to revise JPS's decision to restart its disconnection of electricity after August 15.
I find it highly unreasonable, uncaring, insensitive that a date like that could have been put forward, and I'm calling on the JPS and the OUR to revise what JPS put out in their statement after rescinding the estimated bills, to make sure that renegotiations are done and that ample time for the affected customers are given to them to be able to restore their lives and their livelihoods without the pressure of an excessive JPS bill to face them while going through so much other trials and tribulations.
Darrell Vaz, Energy Minister. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the difficulties that contribute to lengthy delays for trials and retrials cannot be blamed solely on the government.
This is not necessarily a matter for the government. In terms of a constitutional position, I believe firstly that a trial should be conducted within 5 years. And if the trial is not conducted within 5 years, it should be dismissed, in my view, for a breach of the Constitution. When it comes to a retrial, if it is not done within 24 months, in my view, it should be dismissed for want of constitutionality. So that I am surprised to hear various views being expressed that retrials are taking longer than 4 years. If that was the case, then the retrials should never be reordered, and I suspect that that was one of the reasons why in the Kartel's case the judges took that position.
He is reacting to one of the factors cited by the Court of Appeal for its unwillingness to allow dancehall star Vybz Kartel and his former co-accused to be put on trial again for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. Minister Chuck says it is the same judiciary that must take a strong stance against inordinate delays.
The executive and the legislature can't impose time and administrative matters on the judiciary. The judiciary has to take certain strong position. If it says that the trial must be held within 3 years, And if it dismisses cases that are not held within 3 years, then it is for the executive, which the DPP is a part of. Then we must make sure that the arrangements can be put in place so that trials can be held within 3 years.
Delroy Chuck, Minister of Justice. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says efforts are being made to develop the JCF's Community Security and Safety Branch to prevent young people from being recruited by criminals on the island.
When I'm aware you are currently pursuing development of the expansion of the Community Security Safety Branch, development of school resource officers to ensure we can begin to reach the young ones, teenagers so to speak, and get them to begin to make the change so we don't have the same volume coming up on the renewal of the criminal network. What we want is to stop the recruitment by criminals who have resources, who are desperate and maintaining a level of mayhem and disorder, because that's where they make their money. But as we take them out of the scene, we are going to ensure that there is no renewal by, in fact, getting involved with our younger population.
Dr. Chang noted that police personnel will be assigned to work with the Education Ministry to reach the younger population.
The move by the police to broaden this, and you will have the assigned officers out there to work with the Ministry of Education, the Social Security Service officers, etc., and lead a team in challenge communities to ensure we can reduce not only the operational activity of the gangs, but the renewal that they do by victimize, literally recruiting our less privileged kids. We're going to ensure that the services provided through the Ministry of Education and other agencies of government will reach these individuals, and therefore we can prevent that.
Dr. Horace Chang, Minister of National Security. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Together we're our people standing strong. 3 million Jamaicans, let's work as one. Such a course and work with a plan. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. Every Jamaican have the heart of a champion. Such a core, big up with champions. Watch my style, watch my skill, watch my flow. Standing out anywhere where we go. Many goals, many dreams, many strides. On the black, green and gold, and we pride. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. We are strong when we are one, Sagicor, celebrating Jamaican success.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real one. My island, we a world champion with my KFC, I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alwix Swiby. Now, Jamaica's athletes experienced mixed fortunes on day 10 of the Paris Olympics. Wayne Walker is in Paris and filed this report.
In easily the most impressive opening round to the women's 100 meters at any global championships, 7 women dipped below 11 seconds. Jamaica's Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price was one of them. She did 10.92 seconds for second in the final heat, which was won in the day's fastest time by Marie-Josée Toulouse of the Ivory Coast, who won in 10.87 seconds. Jamaica's other 2 entrants, Tia Clayton, 11 seconds flat, and Sasha Lee Forbes, 11.19 seconds, are also through to the semifinals. Natoya Gould-Toppin produced a good front-running performance to win the final heat in the women's 800 meters in 1 minute 58.66 seconds, and thinks she's in prime form to strike.
It was wonderful out there. The track felt great, and I'm feeling good, knowing that it's been so hot, but I've been hydrating, and I slight headache afterwards, but that always happens whenever I run fast. And so I'm just looking forward for the next round. I think this is my fastest opener at a championship, so I'm really excited about it.
Adele Tracy was 7th in her heat in 2 minutes 03.47 seconds, but will have another chance to qualify for the next round on Saturday in the repechage. This was Tracy's first 800 meters of the season, and she says her priority is the 1500 meters, which she has coming up later on in the championship.
This is part of my process towards that. We wanted to come and do the 8, see what we could do, blow the cobwebs away, and that's the case with me, just getting some more races in before the 1500, getting some overspeed so that the 15 feels a little bit easier. Very much looking forward to it, but tomorrow I've got another job to do, so I'm going to take that opportunity.
The mixed 4x400 meters relay team of Raheem Hales, Janelle Bloomfield, Stephanie Ann McPherson and Zandrian Barnes clocked a new national record, 3 minutes 11.06 seconds, to finish 4th in their heat and are through to tomorrow's final.
Actually, the first one is the hardest, so tomorrow will be much better, and we know we can do it. If each of us play our part, definitely we can get a medal.
That's Stephanie Ann McPherson. The United States broke the world record to win Jamaica's heat in 3 minutes 07.41 seconds. Lamar Distin failed to clear 1 meter 92 and fell out of contention for a place in the women's high jump final with 1 meter 88. The nation's record holder, Rajendra Campbell, did not extend himself and easily qualified for the final of the men's shot put with 21 meters 05.
It's not what's good in the prelims, it's what's good in the finals. The goal is to make it through and reach that accomplish, so I'm okay with the performance. Just tomorrow I gotta come out and I gotta come up better, ready to start my I'm excited about it, you know what I mean? But you can't rejoice until the job is over, so let's take a step at a time. Step one was to get to the finals, now I have a chance tomorrow. Just to make the most of it.
No such luck for Samantha Hall in the women's discus after throwing 54 meters 94. In the pool, Josh Curlew logged 54.66 seconds for 5th in his heat of the men's 100 meters butterfly.
I achieved everything I set out to. I hit all my closest goals, same number of light strokes, breathing time on the board I intended to. If I didn't get the time, the results I wanted, it's the same thing as whether I did. From the beginning, I'm going to try 10 times harder when I'm back in the training. First thing when I get back.
From the French capital Paris, site of the 2024 Olympic Games, Wayne Walker for Nationwide 90 FM, the exclusive radio broadcasters of the Games in Jamaica.
Thank you, Wayne. Now, in the meantime, the government of St. Lucia has decided to erect 4 large screens in 4 areas of the country so the entire nation can come out in celebration of sprinter Julian Alfred. Alfred will run in the semi-final 1 of the women's 100 meters tomorrow. Joseph Respera gives the details.
There will be one in the city of Castries in the Derek Walker Square, another at the Rosalie area where there's a high interest in sport. The International Airport in Vieux Fort will have one, just outside the airport area in the tongue of Beaufort. And Soufrière, which has got the new running facility down by the Pitons, they will also have a major screen. The interest is extremely high, and the government feels that they should cater for the interests. And no doubt it's a very important Saturday for Julian Alfred and for the people of St. Lucia and the smaller parts of the Eastern Caribbean.
Joseph Reds Pereira. And Canada have failed in an appeal to be awarded a bronze medal from the 2022 Winter Olympics team figure skating event. Russia were dropped from gold to bronze in the competition by the International Skating Union after Kamila Valieva received a 4-year ban for doping. The United States were promoted to gold, with Japan taking silver. Despite the removal of Valieva's marks, the ISU said Russia's total score at the Beijing Games was a point higher than fourth-place Canada. Canada disputed the decision, but the Court of Arbitration for Sports ruled against them. Now to cricket, as Cricket West Indies CWI announced the Windies squad for the upcoming home series against South Africa from August 7 to 19. The series will be hosted across 2 venues, with the first test being held at the Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad and Tobago, and the second and the final test match in Guyana at the National Stadium. Head coach Andre Coley said the squad we have chosen for this series is a balanced mix of experience and youth, strategically selected to maximize our performance in the conditions of Trinidad and Guyana. He says they have decided to rest Vice Captain Alzari Joseph for this series. Alzari has had a considerable workload recently, and this break will allow him to recuperate and return to peak performance. Kevin Sinclair is presently recovering from an injury. The full squad for the series is Captain Craig Brathwaite, Joshua Da Silva, Alec Athanes, Casey Carty, Brian Charles, Justin Greaves, Jason Holder, Kevin Hodge, Tevin Imlach, Shamar Joseph, Michael Lewis, Gudakesh Boti, Kamar Rhodes, Jaden Seals, and Jamel Warrican. The IPL franchises have recommended a 2-year ban on overseas players should they make themselves unavailable for the season after being bought at the auction without a legitimate cause. They have also told the IPL to make it mandatory for overseas players to register for the mega auction and not just enter mini auctions anticipating potentially large price tags. All 10 franchises agreed on those 2 points during their meeting with the IPL on Wednesday. Many IPL teams have been hurt by overseas players pulling out on the eve of a new season, citing personal reasons. They pointed out that such late pullouts have a detrimental effect on team performance because strategies are devised keeping these overseas names in mind, and their sudden unavailability leaves the franchises scrambling to find replacements for a much shallower pool of international talent. The franchises told the IPL they could understand if the players' board was pulling him out to honor an international comment, or if he has suffered an injury or has family commitments that render him incapable of joining the squad. They were happy to make these allowances so long as there was clarity at the time of the auction about the players' availability during the IPL season. On to golf, as Puerto Rico overtook Jamaica's lead in the ladies section at the end of day 2 of the 67th Caribbean Amateur Golf Championships, which is being played at the Iberia Star Golf Course in the Dominican Republic. Puerto Rico ended round 2 with a -3 score for the team section for the St. George Teal Trophy, while Jamaica ended with a +4 score. Emily Main and Mattia Issa were the contributors to the team score for the round. On the men's side, Jamaica maintained their 3rd place behind Puerto Rico and host the Dominican Republic. The 4 contributors to the Jamaican team score were Woko Lopez, Ryan Liu, Jack Stein, and O'Shea Hay. The men are in the hunt for the Herman Cup in the Mind Team Regional Championships.
It's time for Olympic Corner. A look at the big happenings at the Paris 2024 Olympics.
Slovakian swimmer Tamara Potoka is receiving medical treatment after collapsing following the 200 meters medley heat at the Paris Olympics. Potokova collapsed by the side of the pool where she received immediate medical care, including being given oxygen. The Slovakian team says she is an asthmatic and had an asthma attack. Potoka is conscious and was able to communicate with doctors. She has been taken to hospital for further medical supervision. She finished 7th in her heat and missed out on a place in the semi-final.
That was Olympic Corner. A look at the big happenings at the Paris 2024 Olympics.
There you have it, Nationwide's Olympic Corner. I'm Alex Swaby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:24.
For hard-to-get medications, over-the-counter and chemotherapy drugs, visit Dean's Pharmacy Papine. When others don't have it, we do. Dean's Pharmacy. Feeling better starts right here.
The temperature by Dean's Pharmacy, feeling better, starts right here is
30 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 25 in Montego Bay.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real one. My island, we a world champion with my KFC, I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
Jamaica, it's here again. Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off this summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Phosphorage. Open Sundays.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robian Williams. It's a Friday evening. It's Friday, right, Boogs? I got that correct? Yep. Just checking, sometimes when it's a holiday, you get mixed up with the days. We don't work. I didn't work yesterday. Yep, a special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we like to hear from you, so we're inviting you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. It's Olympic season, yeah? Athletics. Jamaica's athletes, well, they had a mixed bag of results on day 10 of the Paris Olympics. That's today. Swimmer Josh Curlew, he failed to advance from the heats of the men's 100 meters butterfly. The 24-year-old, he finished 5th in 54.66 seconds. Now, the first day of track and field, Tia Clayton, Sasha Lee Forbes, and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, they all advanced to tomorrow's semifinals of the women's 100 meters. It's for us to wait and see. It's shaping up. It has shaped up rather to be the race to watch, the 100 meters. Clayton was the first to qualify, finishing second in heat 4 in 11 seconds flat. Forbes also finished second in her heat, clocking 11.19 seconds, and Fraser-Price finished second also. She ran 10.92 seconds. Now, whenever I hear these seconds, I always think about sometimes I go and watch a timer because them time are fast, man. I tell you, I couldn't do it. In our public opinion today, we're asking, what are your medal predictions for Jamaica at the Paris Olympics? How much gold, how much bronze, how much silver you think we're gonna get to come home with? We're aiming for 100 medals in total, Olympic medals. So let's see. On our Facebook platform, I'll start there. Carlington is saying, we're a God-fearing nation. Not going to fare well in all environment. That openly. Okay. All right. Mr. Bartley, I hear you. Rosalind Buck says, no predictions. Thanks to our athletes for representing our country. Philip Harrison says 7 medals. Natalie Winter saying medal predictions, 15 medals in total. All right. I've been hearing 15 and 13 a lot. CJ says whole heap. Him don't know how much, but whole heap. Whole heap. You know, we as Jamaicans, when we say whole heap, enough. Philip Jackson says, let me see if I can get this one. God cannot mock by men. God is not a man, but a spirit. I'm trying to get through to. This is just to clear some people expression about issues they express at the Olympics. Jamaica is a bit weak this time around, so numbers may be low, but wish them all the best. One or dead, no call it dopey. I first met hear that one day, no, cause me always hear when or dead, no dash away. That me know. Philip Jackson, but you always give us these parables and we welcome them. How many medals? What are your medal predictions for Jamaica at the Paris Olympics? That's the question we're putting to you. What you think will happen based on what you've seen so far, the members of our team, how they have progressed through the different seasons. What do you think? On our X platform, let me see, Susan Hayes, Sports Illustrated says 0, so at least 10. What? Okay. And Don O'Mealy says gold. Wow, this is a lot, Don O'Mealy. I don't think, but I will say it is gold 25, silver 20, and bronze 15. And he says drops mic. Yeah. Elon Musk admirer says it's going to be a medal haul. Yeah. For Jamaica. Lamara Distin failed to advance from the women's high jump. Just a recap of today's proceedings over there in Paris. You know, Lamara Distin failed to advance from the women's high jump with a leap of 1.88 meters. In the women's triple jump, Akeelia Smith 14.09 and Shanika Ricketts 14.47 meters. Both they advanced to tomorrow's final. So we have a final tomorrow and we also have semifinals. It's gonna be interesting, and I don't know. Whenever these sports events come about, I always get a extra feel of happiness, proud. Me proud for be a Jamaican. Just for see where athletes them on such a big stage, you know, performing and outperforming others. It's just an amazing feeling. Marlene Henry on YouTube says 3 gold, 3 silver, and 4 bronze. All right. Aisha Morgan says just wishing them all the best. Bali is saying 7. Paul Peart, 8 medals plus a trophy. All right, pick up yourself, Paul Peart. Everton Williams says 2 gold, 2 silver. Father Perry says 7 in total. Monica Stone is saying no gold, but 2 silvers, 3 bronze. All right. Let me see if I can get in a few more. And we want to say to those who didn't make it to the semifinal, to a semifinal or a final, who didn't pass their heats. I'm just saying we are absolutely proud that you went and you represented nonetheless. You know, it's really a good feeling to be a Jamaican, you know. Every time Olympics and other things, of course, I just feel so amazing. Always feel amazing for be a Jamaican, you know, I could have never been nothing else. But I mean, it just feel good. You feel real good about our athletes. Rich Richard says it wouldn't be fair for Jamaica to win everything. Yeah. Prince Charles says just wishing them all the best. Cause them never put none there. That is it. They never leave none up there. So, you know, we're wishing them all the best. And to our athletes who are yet to perform, yet to run, yet to grace the tracks, we wish you all the best, yeah? All eyes tomorrow on the semifinals, the 100-meter semifinals. So thank you guys so much for participating. Let's go Team Jamaica. Up next, the business report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. R.A. Williams Distributors Limited's initial public offering IPO has been oversubscribed, having raised over $420 million, an excess of its target as of the close of the subscription on July 31, 2024. Now, Sagicor Investments, the lead broker and arranger for the IPO, announced that investors were very receptive to the offer, particularly those in the non-reserved pool, which was open to members of the general public. In a media release on Friday, Sagicor Investments says final allotment details will be available on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website. The U.S. government has filed a new lawsuit against TikTok, accusing the social media company of unlawfully collecting children's data and failing to respond when parents try to delete their children's accounts. Now, the Department of Justice said the firm's practices amounted to a massive-scale invasion of child privacy in the defiance of laws that require online companies to obtain parental consent to gather information for those under the age of 13. Officials said the firm and parent company, ByteDance, were repeat offenders, noting a similar case brought in 2019. Now, TikTok disputed the claims and said it was proud of its efforts to protect children. It said it proactively removed underage users and voluntarily put in place protections such as default screen time limits and additional privacy guards for minors. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 74 cents to buy $1, 203 Jamaican dollars and 57 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 18 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. You have yourselves a wonderful weekend.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
Jamaica, it's here again. Fosridge Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off the summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Fosridge Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Fosridge. Open Sundays.
Looking for your dream property? Look no further than Century 21 Heath Ho Properties. Whether you're seeking a beachfront escape, a cozy family home, or a lucrative investment property, our expert agents are here to help you every step of the way. With Century 21, you get the experience and dedication of a global brand right here in the heart of paradise. Visit us at century21jm.com or call 876-969-2100 today. Century 21 Heap Ho Properties. Everything real estate.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, Jam Rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come on wine with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat.
Life skills.
Global Connect. And Bust the Youth. That's the Talk Up Youth radio show. Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth. Don't miss it.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the Nation's Business. I'm still Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm still Sanjay Lewis.
Sure?
The people, yeah, I'm very sure.
Okay.
Well, let's jump to it, Ricardo. The People's National Party, the PNP, has taken Western Westmoreland's MP, the JLP's Moreland Wilson, to task for what they described as his boorish and disruptive behavior at an emancipation vigil held in the parish on Wednesday. The event was organized by the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, the JCDC, in collaboration with the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation.
The event was set to start at 8 in the evening and end at 12 a.m. with the reading of the Proclamation of Independence. Mr. Wilson reportedly notified the event's organizers that he would be... Would that be the Proclamation of Emancipation? I'm assuming it's a proclamation of emancipation. Mr. Wilson reportedly notified the event's organizers that he would be arriving late and was assured he would be allowed to read the Prime Minister's message. Upon arrival, it's reported that Mr. Wilson was informed by the JCDC parish manager, Coretta Spence, that the Master of Ceremonies, who's also Vice Chairman of the JCDC's Westmoreland Cultural Committee, Michael Jackson, that he would not be allowed to read the Prime Minister's message.
Mr. Wilson was told he would not be allowed to do so because the Governor General's message was being read. According to protocol, the Governor General's message is the last message that should be read. Michael Jackson, who is also the councillor for the White House division in the parish representing the People's National Party, informed the crowd.
The protocol is after the Governor General speaks, there should be no other speaker. That is the protocol. This has nothing to do with politics.
Michael Jackson there, the vice chair of the JCDC's Westmoreland Cultural Committee and councillor for the White House Division. It's reported that Mr. Wilson got upset and repeatedly unplugged the microphone of the performer George Nooks.
Mr. Nooks reportedly left with his team after the repeated disruptions. In a media release on Thursday, Junior Shadow spokesperson on the creative industries, Dr. Olivia Rose, says the PNP condemns the behavior exhibited by the MP. We have the footage we got from the event. Here's the footage.
No. We do not use fire to fight fire. Remember, I am here to maintain the peace. Okay?
MP Wilson joins us now. Morland Wilson, good evening.
Yes, good evening, guys, and good evening to all your listeners.
What happened?
Well, quite simply, I think you guys summarized it in a nutshell. I went to the event to deliver the Prime Minister's message. Upon arrival, I went and I spoke with the JCDC officer at the time, and I was briefed to give him the message and told to wait for my name to be called. After sitting there for an hour, close to an hour, I didn't really check the time. I noticed the event was proceeding towards its end, and I queried with the manager what is going to take place, when will we deliver the message? At which point it was communicated that the message will not be read in a quite abrupt manner. I queried further what was happening, and at that point they said, protocol dictates that it shouldn't be read. So I started to query a lot of things. I said, so why wasn't I informed of this? Where was the error? What happened? And at that point now, they started to what I call in Jamaican terms, buck shuffle. Then they said, you weren't dressed appropriately. I said, what? What do you mean I wasn't dressed appropriately? I am dressed just like the Costas. He's in a chinos, pants, and a button-down shirt. We dress the exact same way.
Hold on, Mr. Wilson. Before you, I want to understand something. What time did you arrive at the event? And when you communicated with the organizers, what time did you inform them that you would be there?
I was communicating with the organizers throughout the entire time. There was an officer there who called, and we were on the phone. They informed me where the message was to be read. I arrived just before the Costas went up on stage.
What time was that?
I wasn't checking the time, to be honest. I stepped in, I saw the organization, I went over to the booth, we were talking. At this point, I didn't know there was any issue, there was any breach of any protocol. We had quite a civil discussion and information was passed on.
But were you late in arriving to the event?
I went when the event started.
And at the point that you
arrived prior, importantly, to the Costas taking on the stage.
So at the point...
on the list of activities that should have been done, when the Costas was making his presentation, is it that the Prime Minister's message was after or before the Costas presentation?
I was not given an agenda. I was in clear and this is where it all fouled up, because I was in communications with the JCDC team. So I did not have a program in front of me. I wasn't handed any. There was no proceeding or any list of action or activities that will be taking place. I was taking clear verbal instructions from the JCDC team. So when I was told that, okay, here are the protocol list, here is the message, we will call you, just hang on there. I was under the impression that everything was good. We were given an agenda. I didn't know who the acts were. It was just clear verbal communication with the JCDC team.
So you did not know at what point on the program you would be required to deliver the message?
No, because they were communicating with me verbally. And that is the whole puzzling, aspect of the matter. If it wasn't their intention for the Prime Minister's speech to be read, why was I giving the Prime Minister's speech a protocol list and all that? And it took turn when I started to query, there were shouts of time come and PNP slogans being shouted out in the crowd. While the event was going on, I even questioned the JCDC team if this was a political event or a JCDC event, because the amount of political slur that was being hurled, I was very puzzled as to why was this happening at a JCDC event. I queried several times with the manager why they did not put a stop to it.
Did you unplug the microphone of the performer?
There were several persons there who would have, the team consisted of several persons who would have been protesting and talking about the Prime Minister's speech should be read. So I don't know who would have unplugged the microphone at any point.
The question was, did you unplug the microphone?
No, I walked next to the microphone. I did not unplug the microphones.
The People's National Party says in its media release...
I went to the microphones and I took it up. I did not unplug it.
You did not unplug it?
You can see that on the videos. Because I was testing the microphones and they were all dead.
The People's National Party accuses you in their release. They say, particularly alarming were reports that MP Wilson's actions, including touching his side in a manner that caused fear among attendees, led to several persons leaving the function. Did you signal or touch your side in a manner that could be construed as being threatening?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. When I read it, I was appalled at the depth at which the People's National Party and their activists would go to try and malign people's character. It is disgusting, to be honest. The event is recorded by several of their activists and proponents, and they cannot in any way provide any evidence to what they have put out in their press release. It is a reckless act to put out something like that, and I absolutely reject it. I would say as well that in common sense, just give me a minute, in common sense, because this is a very important point. In common sense, there were several police officers there. The event took place in front of the police building. Officers were there. They were there trying to resolve the situation. And in no way, shape, or form, and if you even look at some of the photos, you'll see several officers there. At which point in common sense Jamaica you think anybody will be touching any side? There was no one threatening me. There was no one threatening anyone there. We were actively protesting that the Prime Minister's speech should have been read, and the decision by JCDC and how the situation was handled was done so improperly. Because they, up to now, are unable to say to me, why is it that my presence is not acknowledged? I have been sitting there the entire event as a member of Parliament for Westmoreland and Western. The MC, who is a PNP councillor, despite that, he is acting in the capacity of a master of ceremonies. He should have, in all uncertain terms, acknowledged the presence of the member of Parliament for Westmoreland and Western. That was not done throughout the entire event. Right? However, the counter was done for the PNP council for the Granger division, to the point where he says, stand up, man, big up yourself, make it people them see you. This was the type of thing that was happening.
And that was while you were present?
Yes. While I was there with political slurs of time come, power, we want to change government and all of those things. And I was like, this is not a traditional JCDC event. It was more of a political rally.
How did you respond, though, Mr. Wilson? Because the PNP is saying that your actions would see you as being disruptive.
Listen, I have to protest for what's right. The way JCDC up until now did not give me a fulsome explanation as to why the series of events unfolded as it did. Right?
And you have sought that explanation from the parish manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, because they are the person on the ground.
And what was the response?
They were unable. They were saying, that's it. They just went numb. In fact, at one point they said, "Do what you want to do because it's speech now going to read tonight."
Who said that?
That was the attitude. That was the attitude of the parish manager. Right? So we were at
No, just to be clear, did she say those words to you?
Yes, yes.
She said, "Do what you want to because that speech not going to read tonight?"
Right. And I said, "What? So what's happening?" Listen, I was appalled and I was very embarrassed at how the entire event unfolded.
No. But we want to know if the parish manager actually said
yes.
what you just indicated.
Yes, that took place. I was appalled.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and
so,
at that point, the counselor for
the
counselor for the Cornwall Mountain Division, Donnet Foster, was saying, "No, this can't be right. Why is the JCDC behaving like this? Is this a PNP event or is this a Jamaica JCDC event?" It was quite shocking for all of us involved, and that is why several persons in the audience also was saying, "Why cannot the Prime Minister message be read?" And we were given all sorts of excuses.
But were you able to eventually deliver the speech of the Prime Minister?
No, I wasn't able to deliver the speech of the Prime Minister. I stood there. The police came. The police themselves were speaking to the MC. I stood there.
To the MP? Which MP?
With the MC.
The MC. Okay, yeah.
The police spoke with them. The police was quite professional in how they managed the situation. I have no complaints with them. They were there. Their presence was felt. There was no rioting, from what the PNP is trying to insinuate. It's just clear malicious behavior on their part. And I just left because at that point, the Masters of Ceremony and JCDC were not saying anything more. So I said, all right, fine. I'll have to leave here now.
Would you say, MP Wilson, that your temper may have risen to a point where you could be reasonably interpreted as being boorish?
I was speaking at high volume. You were shouting? Boorish. I would not say that. There was a lot of noise, so I had to elevate my voice. I wasn't shouting because I was speaking to persons who were asking what is happening, and I'm saying, listen, they're not allowing us to read the message. They must say why, I don't know. So I couldn't give an explanation. The MC went on stage and gave the audience a reason why that couldn't take place. Some people in the back was saying it's foolishness, that's why it never run the correct way. It was a clear sign that there was some political mischief taking place throughout the event.
In hindsight, though, looking back at the situation, would you consider that your actions, and I'm saying in hindsight, would have been disruptive in some shape or form?
No, I wouldn't say that. The overall event was disruptive, but not my actions at all. When I stood there, I was speaking to two individuals, the MC and the head of JCDC. At one point, I spoke to I think it's a manager for one of the artists, and I said, listen, there's some mix-up here. Some error took place. A message was supposed to be delivered. Whatever happened. We have to deliver the Prime Minister's message. And the person responded and said, well, let us and the MC and the people get together and work it out. However, to no avail, that didn't take place.
Have you reported the matter to the executive director of the JCDC?
The matter was reported accordingly. They are aware, looking for some level of investigation to take place, into what exactly took place, where the error occurred, where the mix-up occurred, and how this thing can be avoided.
I'm a little surprised, though, Mr. Wilson, that an event of this nature, there would have been no outline given to you. A program typically would be given at events of this nature.
Well, I'm not saying there wasn't any there. I was just not provided with one. I could not say that there was not a program there. I was not provided with one. What I was provided with was the message from the Prime Minister and clearly the protocol list, so I could acknowledge all the relevant persons who were in the house. So I wasn't made aware of a program at all.
But just to be clear, you're saying you did not unplug any microphone?
No.
You did not at any time signal to your waist in a threatening manner?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And you
And
maintain...
with the amount of people recording, wouldn't you think they would have had some video or something? I mean, these people are just preposterous.
And you maintain that your behavior...
No defense, but that is ridiculous.
And you maintain that your behavior was not boorish or disruptive?
No. I tried in every way, shape, and form to communicate with the relevant persons in charge. They were quite reluctant and numb in responding to how exactly the error occurred, where it occurred, and why wasn't this error communicated. Because if it is that at some point they realized that an error was made, they could have came and said, boy, MP, say, we mix up something and this can't happen again. But none of that took place. None of that took place. There was no form of way of resolving the situation. It was clear abruptness and saying, this can't happen. That message will not be read. It was quite off-putting, to say the least.
I can imagine. Morland Wilson is the Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland. Thank you so much for your time. We understand you have to go back to a meeting.
Thank you.
All the best.
What should be clear, Sanjay, listeners, is that at events like these that commemorate important national milestones, the stain and ugliness of tribal politics should not color it.
Definitely agree, Ricardo. And it's very unfortunate. But what I can say is that we're going into a very charged election season.
Sanjay, I will not accept that as an excuse.
No, I'm not accepting. I'm not saying that.
Politicians must absolutely be more mature. As in, obviously, this is not a matter of he said, she said, and the JCDC, Mr. Wilson says, will have to investigate or will investigate it. But I can recall other instances where significant national emblems have been defaced, colors changed or removed. And I don't know at what point we're going to just rise above that kind of ugliness. I'm saddened to hear it.
The politics can be very nasty at times, and I agree with you that it should not come into play at events of this nature. And an event of this nature is so important, Ricardo, but yet it's marred by the politics. That should not have happened. And I find it very strange also that the MP would arrive and the protocol officer or whoever is representing the protocol division didn't inform the MP to say, this is where we're at, this is your program, this is when you will go up to do your presentation on behalf of the Prime Minister. That's the norm that happened at events of this nature.
Which is why it will be so important for the JCDC to make known its findings after the investigation it has launched. Because if it is that the posture of the officers of the JCDC on the ground was to show political favoritism in any way, even if the allegation is that he was late, Mr. Wilson, if the posture was to show political favoritism, then that is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
I see Carleen Smith saying, leave the politics at the door when attending national events. I couldn't say
we have to. We have to.
Yeah.
There must be a place that we can say, look, we're devoiding ourselves of the politics. We're focusing on the greater good. And something as important as this, both sides have to be man enough, to put the politics aside and focus on what is important here, which is the interests of the Jamaican people and the country at large.
And the recognition and acknowledgement of the milestone of emancipation. It's 2 minutes after 7. We're going to go to the break. And after the break, we're going to head to Paris, to hear from Wayne Walker.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
The mission of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs includes revising Jamaica's legal and constitutional infrastructure and accelerating the pace of reform. The time by the MLCA is...
Bugs insists that I should tell you that it's 3 minutes after 7, just 1 minute later.
Whether you're overseas or in Jamaica, everybody wants their little piece of yard. Well, that's where a JMMB bank mortgage comes in. With JMMB, you'll get more support, more incentives, more benefits, more coverage with JMMB insurance brokers. And also, we give you more time to repay. Your JMMB mortgage expert will answer all of your questions and guide you through every step along the journey. You're not alone with JMMB. Contact us at info@jmmb.com and learn how you can get more than just a mortgage.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, Jam Rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
Jamaica, it's here again. Fosridge Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off this summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Fosridge Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Fosridge. Open Sundays. Paris Connection with Wayne Walker is brought to you by the Sagicor Group. Out of many, one pulse.
Welcome back to Nationwide at 5. We're heading across the pond to Paris, where Wayne Walker is. Good evening, good morning, Wayne.
Good morning, Wayne. It's 2 minutes. It's what, 2:05 there
5
in Paris,
minutes after
Wayne?
2.
Yes, 2:05. Yeah, that's exactly correct.
All right. Let me start, Wayne, by asking you, because you know the sport well, and I've been seeing commentary saying that what happened this morning in particular in the women's 100 meters was simply spectacular. And I've seen questions about whether this track is a fast track and whether tomorrow it's going to produce something special. How do you see it?
Well, without question, it is fast. If you notice, they've changed the color to lavender in the middle, and just on the edges, it's more purple than anything else. And one of the reasons they say they changed is that the members of the organizing committee sat and decided that they wanted to the 2024 Olympic Games to be engraved in the minds of people for years. And when they brainstorm, they figure to make it aesthetically more beautiful and to come with a color that has never been used before. They came up with it. They tried a number of colors and so on. But it also seems as if they did something else to the track, because for the first time in perhaps history, this is the most impressive opening round of a 100 meters, perhaps even, right across gender. I was going to, restrict it to women because it is the women who did it. But if you really take a good look at it, it could very well be the greatest opening 100-meter round in any global championship. And when I walked into the Stade de France this morning, I hopped over from La Défense, where they had the swimming, where Josh was, and to try to catch the women in the 100. And I was surprised to see a full Stade de France. The Stade de France holds 80,000 and upwards. I was full the capacity in the morning session. I was telling Chris today, actually yesterday, that the last time I saw this was in Beijing in 2008. When Lu Shang, this a Chinese hurdler who won the world record, and the bird nest at probably 100,000 people at 8 o'clock in the morning. How did they get there? And so it's the same thing this morning with the Stade de France. And you just get the impression it was going to be something special, and the women really provided it. It was just absolutely beautiful to watch. 7 women did below 11 seconds in the first round of 100 meters. did that happen? One went as low as 1087. It's crazy. Girls went wild this morning, literally. And so tomorrow, you're going to expect more. I am really looking forward to see what they come with tomorrow afternoon and then later on in the evening, because after the semi-final, they come back 2 hours later for the final to bring day number 3 to a closure. But it's going to be fantastic.
I also see, Wayne, people are trying to make sense of the start list for semi-final 2. Fraser Price, Alfred Richardson in the same semi-final, and people are trying to make sense of it. The more cynical ones are saying, perhaps it's set this way to make sure a top contender is eliminated at the semi-final level. How do you see it?
No, it doesn't make sense. First of all, a top contender will not be eliminated. Those 3 will go through. So that to begin with, don't worry about that. They will go through all 3. It was just weird to see them in the same semi-final. But these things, athletes are not placed in semi-finals. Athletes are in semi-finals because of the time that you run. So you run yourself into the semi-finals. And there's a system of doing it, yeah? And I got in it because of the times, vis-a-vis what the other times that people do. Reaction time. There's so many things, there's a lot of things that put together to get you in there. Shakira Richardson won the world title from lane 8 last year in Budapest. You don't put big people in lane 8. They're in the middle lane, 6, 5, and 4. But she got there because of the time that she ran. And so they were not deliberately placed there. They can't put them there. They're there because of the time that they ran. They just happen to be there. And so there are 3 semifinals. The first 2 in each will go through as of right, automatically that is. And then the next 2, so it's 6, and the next 2 will go through the 2 fastest of the team, the others who don't get through automatically. And you just get the impression, because of the class and the talent and the ability of Richards and Alfred and Fraser Price, that they're going to get through. So even the automatic 2 will go through, and I just get the impression one of the fastest losers will come from that same semifinal.
You feel confident about
that? It's going to be. Sorry, I didn't.
No, I was saying you feel confident about that.
Not only confident, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you follow the sport and you follow the trajectory of the people that run, one of the fastest losers will come from there.
Yeah.
And so you get the impression all 3 will go through. I mean, it is sport, and it's the reason why we don't know the result before they are played. But if you're in the sport long enough, and you follow the athletes, and you follow the systems and the trajectory, you just know that one of the fast losers will come from that, because there are 2 automatic spots. The 3 are going to run for those 2. And because they're so good, they're going to drag each other into magnificent times, and which is going to be a danger in the final if Shelley gets in. Because my concern with her is that if she gets into the final, what you ask your 37-year-old, albeit a 37-year-old who still runs like a 23-year-old, what you're asking her to do is to stitch 2 brilliant performances together on the same night in a 2-hour time frame. And then you just don't know what the weather is going to be like, because today Toya Gould was telling me that it was so hot. It affected her. There's somebody else who told me this was, I think Dina Asher Smith was telling me today that she was annoyed at the sort of heat that was in the south of France. So that's my aim, my concern with Shelley. Yes, I expect her to get to the final, because I think one of the fastest losers is going to come from that. And I tell you what, she probably could get even one of the 2 automatic spots. You never know. But if she doesn't, worst case scenario, I think she gets into the final. The problem is, how does a 37-year-old body comes back 2 hours later to reproduce a performance that will get her on the podium? And that's my concern. But I think that if anybody can do it, then it's got to be Shelley.
Based on the performance that you've seen in the heats, do you think that we're on course to see the world record being broken?
No, absolutely not. That's very easy to answer. The world record is 10:49.
Yeah.
That's video games time. But I don't know. You don't. It's rare, very, very rare, when a sprint world record is broken at an Olympic Games. Donovan Bailey did it once. Usain did it as well. Michael did it in the 200 in Atlanta in 96. And I'm trying to reach from memory. I can't. It doesn't happen. It's rare. There's too much going on. Normally, the world record is breaking in a one-off performance. You turn up on the day, the wind is good, you feel good, you eat well, you train well, and you put it together in whatever time. At a championship, there's more. You have to come today. The ladies came today, they ran. The track was fast, and that is why the times look so, because they don't normally run those fast times, because you conserve as much as you can to put it all and lay it all out on the track on Saturday night, tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. So it's rare that you see that. What you probably could do is look for an Olympic record, which is more likely. But the world record, absolutely nobody in the field can run 10:49. None, absolutely none.
Mm-hmm. On Wednesday, I think it was Mahiri had asked you about the replacement for Sharika in the 4x100 relay. Were you able to get that information?
That information can't be had because no team was selected, so you can't have a replacement for something that was not yet selected. What they do, they have a cadre of ladies who train, and then when it comes closer to the time, the technical team will now sit and decide who they pick. Remember also that Sharika is running the 200 meters, so she's still going to be available. The question is, will she run after running the 200 meters? Because I think the 4x1, the qualifiers is the next day. So how good will she be in terms of her shape and everything to run in the 4x1? So she's not been replaced in the 4x1. The fact that she remains in the sprint, it means that she's available for the 4x1.
Mm-hmm. Have you had any further sight of the men, oblique Kishane Akeem?
Yes, I've seen them. I'm seeing them every day. Before I moved, though, I was getting some news maybe about an hour ago, and we're going to be checking it. But I hear Tia isn't well. I don't know. I would have to check it in the morning. It's 2 in the morning now, and it's hard to find people to sort of. But that's what I'm hearing, that she's running, not at full tilt. I hear she's not well.
As in an injury or just generally unwell?
Did you see her running with some strapping? They didn't go into detail. They just say she's not at full tilt. She's running injured, sort of. And as I say, it's not something we can confirm just yet. But the source that we're getting it from is the same one that told us that Sasha Lee will replace Sharika in the 100 meters. And that kind of source you tend to believe, because that news that we broke was huge. So it's just that I'm hearing. I'm trying to confirm it a little later on in the morning.
And of course, in Paris tomorrow morning, you'd be able to offer more.
A little later on this morning, yeah. So, right. So, the men now, I'm impressed by the three gentlemen. I saw them all week working out, and Kishane impressed me most of the three. Oblique trained well this week as well, and Akeem trained well as well. And I'm expecting them to do very, very well. And as the moment gets closer, I find myself thinking it's difficult to keep two Jamaicans on the podium. I really believe we can get two people on the podium because of what I've seen. In fact, I've seen all the big players train this week. I watched Noah train for 25, 30 minutes the other day. Ferdinand Omaniala from Kenya, I saw him train. He looked good in train. He really had some good sessions this week. And then Zarnel Hughes came down yesterday morning. I saw him. He looked really, really good as well. I've seen Keddy Benerick. So I've seen the big ones train, and they all look impressive. But goodness gracious me, man. Kishane put on a show with his training the other day. He was at the track for about 3 hours, and he really, really looked good.
And I was wondering, Wayne, because as in you know this better than I do, but I was looking at his stature and his structure, and I was saying to myself, somebody that massive, where does he get all that power from in that start?
Yeah, because he's a power runner, and it's not coincidental that the two people who have run the fastest times in the world this year, and the only two people to have run a 9.7 since Usain Bolt's days, is the two biggest. And when I say biggest, they're muscular, nice, structured people, Omanyale and Kishin. And it's a very good question you asked. Where does he get the time? Because 100 meters runners are normally finesse runners, not power runners. You don't find them too much. And there have been a few, I mean, Linford was a power runner when he was in his days. Don Bailey was a power runner as well. But you don't find a lot of them. They're more slender. They're more finesse runners. They float through the air. These runners, Kishane and Omanyala, they fight the breeze. They're powerful people. And I suppose there's some advantage in being very powerful because you need strength over that 100 meters of real estate. And so Kishane is powerful. He's absolutely powerful. The chance meeting between himself and Noah Lyles yesterday down at the training center gave Noah Lyles chills, I'm sure, down the spine, because for the first time, I suppose, he came side by side with Kishane.
You saw the measure of the man.
When he looked at him yesterday, that must have had been waking up 3-4 times in the night, because looking at them, and they didn't even stand beside each other, they were just going behind each other. And I'm sure Noah Lyles, as a student of the game, he takes notice of everything. He would have noticed that this man is a colossal.
And later, I should say, in Paris, Wayne, what's the lineup, the events that the Jamaicans will take part in?
Well, the 100 meters for men and women, by the way, and we have to be very careful not to ignore the others, because it's a track and field start, and I'm sure we all get excited about it, and quite rightly so. But Sabrina Lynn is also going to be in action in the pool tomorrow. And one of the things that we've noticed with this Olympic Games is that the swimming is clashing with some of the athletics. And that is why this morning I opted not train. After 7 stops, jumped off at La Défense, tried to catch Josh Curlew in his 100 meters butterfly, and then just running scared right through the city in the morning with the traffic, trying to get on the train to go down to see the athletics. So it's very, very difficult. All right, so tomorrow, the morning session, very good question too. So the morning session, they get underway at 10:05, which is 3:05 in the morning Jamaica time. And the interest for Jamaica will not be until my schedule here shows 11:55, right? So that's a 100 meters with Shane and Oblique and Akeem.
It's about 5:50 here.
Go again?
That's about 5:50 in the morning here.
Is it 5:50, 11:55?
Thereabout.
So it's 7 hours. So it more looks to me like 4:50.
4:50, yeah.
Maybe you're better at math than me.
I know that. I rather know that way.
Absolutely not, Wayne.
Right. So the evening session now. So the repechage for the women will take the track at 7:50, which would be 12:50 Jamaica time for the semifinals. Yeah, the same one we're talking about. And then so the men will run in the morning. That's the only interest Jamaica have in the morning, along with Sabrina Lynn in the pool. And then the triple jump for women, that final will start. It has 2 Jamaicans, Akila Smith and Shanika Ricketts. That will get underway at establishing 8:20 here in Paris, which is 1:20 in Jamaica. And then the 4x400 meters mixed relay, Jamaica is in that final, and it's set to go off at it's showing 8:55 here, which is 1:55 in Jamaica. And then the women's final, that's the 100 meters final, it's set to go off at 9:20, which is 2:20 in Jamaica. So the time between the semifinal and the semifinal is at 12:50. So they get just under 2 hours to prepare for the final. And then the night will end with the 1,500 meters decathlon. So it's all about the 100 meters, except for the triple jump women final, where we have 2 competitors in it. And then, of course, Sabrina Lynn, as I mentioned.
And just to confirm, the 100 meters for men, the heats, they get underway at 4:45. So I was about 5 minutes.
That was correct.
Yeah.
Wayne, it was always 7 hours. Yeah.
A question, not a question, a request from Caroline Smith, one of our YouTubers. She's asking you if you could get an interview, or try to get an interview with the stadium announcer. I've lost the actual message. I think she said his name is Donald Smith, she says.
That's her brother?
Oh, I don't know if it's her brother. She says,
Donald Smith.
is a stadium announcer at the Olympics. She's begging you to get an interview.
One of.
Yeah, she says he's flying the Jamaican flag high, and she's asking if you could try to get an interview with him.
Yeah, Donald is doing well. In fact, Donald was the one who introduced Shelley this morning. Yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, that's a good request. I mean, but it's going to be difficult to time down.
Right.
I will have to probably do that after the Stade de France, when 80,000 people are streaming out of a facility. It's not very, very easy to make your way around and try to find people. But I'll try. I think it's a good request, and I think it's a reasonable request, because I think he's doing very well. He's really, really setting the standards for Jamaican announcers. He's really, really doing well.
You have a long day ahead of you, and I have my instructions about keeping you up too late, so we're going to let you go. Thank you so much, Wayne.
All the best, Wayne.
Batting for me, huh?
Always. She's always batting for you.
Thank you. Thanks, D.
All right. And of course, listeners, you can tune in to Paris this morning, which will be tomorrow morning. George and the team will be on live. And of course, you'll get more insights and reports from Wayne over there in Paris.
Yeah, some excellent work there from Wayne, keeping us updated as to what is happening over there in Paris. Yeah.
It's 7:24. We're going to open the lines after the break. The numbers to call, you know them, 630-9371-4, 618-8255.
Paris Connection with Wayne Walker was brought to you by the Sagicor Group. Out of many, one pulse.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, Jam Rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
Whether you're overseas or in Jamaica, everybody wants their little piece of yard. Well, that's where a JMMB bank mortgage comes in. With JMMB, you'll get more support, more incentives, more benefits, more coverage with the JMMB insurance brokers. And also, we give you more time to repay. Your JMMB mortgage expert will answer all of your questions and guide you through every step along the journey. You're not alone with JMMB. Contact us at info@jmmb.com and learn how you can get more than just a mortgage.
Sip into the brightness of summer with Starbucks. Relax and enjoy a variety of Starbucks refreshers or indulge in a Frappuccino. We have something new for you every season. Try our new Lavender White Mocha Frappuccino at your nearest store. We are located in Kingston, Portmore, Ocho Rios, and Montego Bay. For more information, visit our Instagram at Starbucks Jamaica.
Experience togetherness this Easter, embarking on a one-of-a-kind adults-only retreat in a world where swaying palms meet endless sunsets. All-inclusive indulgence awaits here at Hideaway at Royalton Blue Waters. Tap into an all-in luxury vacation experience when you book between April 1 to 30. Contact us. Dial 876-632-7401. That's 876-632-7401. Speak to your local sales agent today.
Experience Jamaica's Olympic triumphs in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Horton's Pharmacy. Horton's RX Back for better medication management.
After the 1952 Olympics, Jamaica endured a gold drought for 5 Olympic cycles. That's until Donald Quarry ended the streak at the 1976 Montreal Games, winning the men's 200 meters. Quarry made the Jamaican 100 meters team for the 1968 Summer Olympics as a 17-year-old, but he got injured in training and could not compete. In 1976, after winning the AAA's 100 and 200 meters titles, Quarry could finally compete at the Olympics without injuries. He first made the 100 meters final, which he led until overtaken by Trinidadian Hasely Crawford. In the 200 meters, Quarry led the pack, coming out of the turn and held off all challenges to take the title in 20.22 seconds.
Away they go, first time, and Quarry got a magnificent start in lane 2, and Quarry really taking them off. And once the laps on the track, I'm not quite sure it is.
You just experienced a Jamaican Olympic triumph in Jamaica Gold, a golden spotlight.
Brought to you by Horton's Pharmacy. Horton's RX Pack for better medication management.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
630-937-124-618-8255. Those are the numbers to call. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Sanjay Lewis. You know, Ricardo, I want to say hello to Jacqueline Thomas in the
Mr. Shaggy has strength, man. Mr. Shaggy has strength.
Man, Jacqueline just defend me in the YouTube chat. I mean, just love that. And then I think it's Avis. Avis is like myself. Is also from Westmoreland, and I see Marigold Harding also. Yeah, man, they defend me.
Jacqueline may be to you what Marigold was to me when I just started here.
I told you now. I think I've won over Marigold.
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So you can keep dreaming. Carl, you're up first. Good evening.
Hello, Carl.
Evening, Shower.
It's Sanjay.
Sanjay.
Yes.
Yes.
Sanjay, you see what happened in Westmoreland last night?
Yes.
I was calling this morning very early because I get it before 7 o'clock this morning.
Uh-huh.
And what is one of the counselor was the moderator. That's the biggest mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first one. And all the member of parliament was trying to tell him that the protocol of the prime minister need to read. The moderator said to the member of parliament, time come. I don't know what time come for.
Were you there?
Exactly. I was just about to ask that.
Well, if you want more information, we can provide it.
Me just as I don't want to hear say. Yeah, right. You weren't there. So somebody told you that was said.
Yes, the counselor more than one time repeated that time come. I don't know what time come for. He should be ashamed of himself. He doesn't look at and see somebody is here from all the way in New Zealand to apologize for who I lead them. Slave master relative.
Wait, did that happen in Westmoreland? That apology was in Seville, was my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's here from all the way in New Zealand.
Was at the Westmoreland function?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean generally? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Generally.
Okay.
From all the way in New Zealand to apologize for the whopping of us. And them have the slave master grandson or great grandson and lead them. That's where time comes for them to put somebody in front of them.
Again, Carl, you have no evidence that Mr. Golding is a descendant of slave masters. You have no evidence of that.
All right. Anyhow, Cameron came here also and went into our parliament.
Yes.
And he wanted to offer we to build a prison for us.
Yes.
And we reject it.
Mm-hmm.
And Cameron said, move on.
Yes.
Well, Cameron, you and your slave masters, them, won't be moving on now. A lot of countries are apologizing to the Caribbean, Cameron. Hope somebody will give you the message. Time not come yet. And even when you look at it, in about 5 to 6 months ago, when Golding was putting on that piece of chain around that Rastaman neck and know that him is a
No, Carl. Mr. Golding was not putting a chain around the Rastaman's neck. Mr. Golding was opening a lock of a chain.
A lock of a chain.
Right. Just to be clear on the facts of what happened.
Black man.
Yes.
And know that him is a British citizen. That's what time come for. That's what time come for. And the next question I have to put to you. It is almost 9 weeks now. Are we having a Portia Simpson leading the People's National Party? We have your hide farmer.
But who says Mr. Golding is hiding, Carl? Where you get that information from?
Hold on. Let me ask you something, Chava. Let me ask you something.
Sanjay, not
Almost
Siobhan.
every week, Sanjay, we used to get a press conference. And we used to hear say this not right and that not right and what is right and what is right.
It doesn't suggest that he's hiding, though, Carl.
All of a sudden, the press conference, where the England?
No, but it doesn't suggest that he's hiding. The PNP is very much active. They have been issuing their press releases on an almost daily basis.
Why we cannot have a press conference to hear of nothing from the leader we want to govern our country anymore?
Because he has individuals who are spokespersons who can speak ably on the issues.
Hello, sir. Hello, young man. Do not bring that rubbish to me. Do not.
But Carl, hold on. You're asking why is it that he's not having press conferences to discuss the issues? No. Hold on, Carl. You're asking. No. Just let me make the point. I'll allow you to respond. You're asking why is it that Mr. Golding he's not having press conferences to discuss the issues? I am not defending him. I'm just simply saying.
Defend the PNP. We are asking questions that we need an answer.
Carl.
They don't need to defend him.
Carl?
He used to have a press conference almost every week before.
Carl.
They backing up of him with him British citizen. And all of a sudden, we cannot hear nothing more from him.
Carl.
What is happening? Yes, please.
Okay. Remember our agreement? So now you are now bound to tell me one bit of good news about the JLP government. Because you take about 5 minutes a while ago more on Mr. Golding. One bit of good news about the JLP. One good
bit
thing.
of good news?
Yes.
I can't give you one.
You see it? You see how fast you come with Mr. Golding, Mr. Golding name, and you can't give me something good off of the top of your head?
What? No, don't do that, Ricardo.
No, well, we need one thing. Give me one thing, man.
Don't do that. We're building a brand new hospital, almost a brand new hospital, out of the taxpayer dollar in Jamaica. We have give police again yesterday was Thursday, today is Friday, Wednesday. 60 more brand new vehicles.
All right. You go on now. I gone.
So don't go there.
All right. Next week, Carl. Next week.
By the way, Ricardo, a friend of yours says, please let the listeners know that the purple is the most beautiful color. I'm sure you know.
Kenyatta needs to go to his bed.
Kenyatta, Powell.
Good evening, Carl. That's what I call. Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm Ricardo.
What's up, one?
I'm good. I'm just not worrying about the 100 tomorrow with the
No, man. What you worry about? No worry, man.
No, I know Shelly going to try her best.
And I know you're a Christian and a praying man. Just,
Yeah. But let me tell you something. You're asking for one good thing.
Yes.
The greatest thing that this government come and do is to change our pay structure. Which no, Mr. Manley and the PNP, they tried many times.
Yes.
And never get it done.
You mean the public sector, the salary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And as much as some of them going on as if they're not getting a little better pay and something that they can look at. It is much better than when the PNP were in government. Because all they used to give us is wage freeze.
Right. And can I tell you something about that whole reform process, Cleveland? Here is why I have respect for the administration for doing it. It was never going to be easy.
No.
It was,
and I know it as a person working there for years.
Right. It was always going to be fraught with hiccups, technical hiccups,
Yeah.
you know, that was good. That was inevitable.
Yeah.
We expected that.
Yeah.
And we know that in this closely divided country in terms of politics, when you take on those big ticket items,
Yes.
you're really, really courting problems because you know it's going to become a political football.
Yes.
And so I respected
Yeah.
that the administration had the courage to take it on.
Take it on.
Because from I was younger, from I was a teenager, I used to say to myself, boy, and Sanjay knows this, we used to talk about it. If we continue to practice governance with only the next election in mind, I fear we won't get very far.
That's right.
It will require political leaders, whoever forms the government, to decide we're going to bite the belt, we're going to bite the bullet, and we're going to do this because it is the right thing to do.
Yes.
It might be difficult, it might cost you politically,
Yes.
but it is the right
The
thing
right
to do.
thing to do.
And
sir.
I will always respect political
Yes.
leaders who choose the right over expediency.
That's
Always.
That's right.
And so I respect them for that. It may cost them. It may
Yes.
well cost them.
Yes, but it is there in place.
Right. We have to look beyond the next election.
Yes.
And can I also just add something to that, Ricardo? What we also have to look at is for a very long time, people would start out in the public sector and then they look to the private sector.
I have
because
friends in
salary
the private
wasn't
sector
enough
now who want to go
stay.
into government.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now we're seeing the reverse.
Yes.
People who are in the private sector for the first time are looking and say, hey, it may make better sense to go back or to go to the public sector because it pays more.
This is
That's right.
That's a
And
fact. That's a
yes,
fact.
Yes, yes.
That's a
and the other thing, I see Anthony be on TV praising the hospital for saving his life. And many times people go to the hospital and the hospital save them life. I mean, along with the workers. And some of them will come out and tell us that the health system is bad. Right? And I think it make a great improvement from earlier days. Great improvement.
Yeah, and again, the reforms, they're going to take time. And some of the dividends and some of the outcomes will not be realized in one political term. That's, you know, but the seeds being sown
Yes,
will bear fruit later.
Yes.
I am convinced of that.
And one more thing. I don't know if you remember when rainfall over Ugly Park Road used to flood out.
Yes.
You hear anything of that happening?
I do remember that.
And you remember what the
I do
JLP
remember
got through
that.
with it? Got through to get it done?
Yes.
You remember those days?
And as again, though, once you take on a big ticket item, it will always have political blowback.
Okay.
But you just have to have the courage. And I hope whoever forms the government, the next government, will continue these kinds of
Wait
reform.
for that. I mightn't be around, but I wish you luck with that.
I'm hopeful, Cleveland, because I hope that this period of reform that we've been on now since
we have to continue.
I don't see them encouraging it.
A lot of it started.
The PNP not encouraging it.
Well,
they criticize and just criticize and give the people.
Here is what I think, Sanjay Cleveland. I think in opposition, you talk a big talk. But my hope is that in government, in the sobering of being in government, you recognize what needs to be done. That is my hope.
And let me just say something more. I remember Mr. Golden go to Clarendon, somewhere about there, and telling people that they must step it up on the JLP. They're doing it now. They're doing it now. And listening to you, I think you were pressing Mr. Hill too much. As if you tend not to believe him.
Wilson.
Right? And I hope because the PNP is trying to shut you up, because you always give the news as it is. You're not being trying to
No.
to, you know.
For the avoidance of doubt, Cleveland, I have no basis on which to disbelieve the Member of Parliament.
Okay.
I was putting the questions to him that the People's National Party has raised, and just to get his response.
Yes,
I have no basis to disbelieve him at all.
It's a set-up thing, and it's a disgrace coming from a so-called leader. But by the way, how would he be the member, the MC?
Well, it appears that he has a dual role. It seems that he has a role at
As
the
the mayor.
JCDC, in addition to being a councillor. That's
It
my
seems that way to me, based
That's
on
my
what I'm
understanding.
seeing.
And he couldn't be man enough, sir, to run the thing as it's supposed to. What sort of example is setting with the people them? What sort of example?
Which is what we had indicated, that we are hoping, and we would hope that the politics in certain events, the politics is taken out of
Nothing
it.
it, sir. Nothing it. And it must
I think
be
we are
condemned.
mature enough and can do that.
It must be condemned. We like we're afraid of these PNP people, And we have to stop it. We have to put on our foot because we want the country to go right.
All right.
Too much politics and these little people just rally around, and that's why we're going to have a problem in this country if we don't put on our foot and just condemn it, these things.
All right, Cleveland.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Put on the foot when any side step out of line. That we agree on. Omalo.
Good evening, Ricardo.
How are you, my brother?
Hello, Omalo.
I'm fine. Good evening, Sanjay.
Good evening.
Listening to what's happening in Westmoreland, yeah? And just put it with what happened on a campaign platform. It's just a total distraction to the people, And I think this is really an orchestrated approach to have the people distracted from the real issues that are facing them and focus on things that just going to occupy them time and distract them from the things that they are really going through.
Orchestrated by who, though?
It is something within politics and within the elites to have the people distracted while they benefit from the spoils.
But you see, for me, I blame the people because the people can respond and raise the bar that the politicians must follow. So I blame the people also.
You see, some of the times, some of the times, if we understand people and understand that people, we are social beings, and based on we are social beings, we can be heard and led, and we have hierarchy within our system that some of the times we follow, and people are not just out of the bound that they are not, they're just superior in thoughts where they can, most of the times, the majority just overcome what is going on. Most of the time, people are being led by those that are in power and authority. Yeah? And what is going on within Jamaica is that on platforms, we are not speaking about the issues that are facing Jamaicans, to cause Jamaicans to be migrating, to cause Jamaicans to be killing themselves, to because the school system in putting out kids that can't read. We're not. These are not what we are on the stage challenging party about what is it that they're going to do different. What we are on the stage is that Giovanna England, you are dictator, this and these are the things, and then the news media the next day. These are the things that they are carrying. And the country keep going like this, and it keep going like this, and it keep going like this. And those who are benefiting from what is going on by the destruction and the separation of the people, they'll come back as soon as power is given, whether to him or to him. They come with the same policies, the same extractive policies that keeps everything at the top and drip down to the people at the bottom.
But don't you think, and I'm going back to the substantive point that I made, don't you think that we also have a responsibility to demand more from those who lead us? And by doing so, that will help to raise the bar, and we will forget about the distraction of which you have been speaking of.
It takes a certain level of consciousness and a certain level of understanding economic policies and understanding good governance And we have never experienced that really in Jamaica, where there's a standard by which we have that we say we are dropping from this standard, and no, we have to reach back to this standard. This was almost all the same standard that Jamaicans have been going through all the period of this independence that we have. So we have nothing as a marker to say we are dropping. So let's grab back to what we had and start demanding. No, that's not what we a black man time. No more white man. It is no different.
Mm-hmm.
It is no different. We are just going through the process, and there comes an election, and we, the people out there, going to be in the massive, and them going to jump around, and the next day they're going to see them come and say, they me light, and them start demonstrate just after election, and them never discuss on no policy about the light. Never discuss no policy about water, never discuss no policy about high cost of living, nothing. But me can't go to the supermarket, and then they just after the election, and they keep going and going and going and going. And those who, there is got to be somebody that is benefiting. Somebody has to be benefiting, and that is why the corporation, them, that is in this system that is locked because of energy policies. Nobody now come here and put them business under these high energy prices to say they're going to pay so much of their profit in tax, in energy prices and stuff like that. Nobody not coming here for that. Nobody not coming to Jamaica could do no business when the education system don't at a certain level where they probably need engineers and technology people and the education system is only training nurses and teachers and lawyers. Nobody not coming here for that. Nobody not coming here to pay no extortion. Nobody not coming here for these things. So if we just keep on doing the same thing, you see, the university, those that are educated, and I'm telling you, I feel like AI is going to do a great service for this country, and not in the way that AI is going to create, make productivity in Jamaica more productive. But AI, I have a granddaughter in Miami, and she goes to a school in Miami, and she don't have to go to school no days of the week. Only one time per year she go to school. And it's to her finals. She go to a digital school in Florida. You see, AI soon start make the teachers not run away and stay here in Jamaica and demand of their government a better standard of living.
All right, Amalo.
Here you, Amalo.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call.
Okay.
Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Richard.
Gentlemen. Sandra, you know who is this?
Yes, Richard, of course. Richard from St. Anne.
Yes, man.
How you do?
I'm good. I'm in Portland now.
See that? I didn't even know that.
Yes. Portland is my original home, but I work in St. Anne, so I used to stay down there,
Ah, okay.
But, Sandra, I know for a fact that a statement build a nation, not look to win the next election. Because we look at the leader from Lee Kuan Yew from Singapore. He went back to build a nation because Singapore was one of the highest country with murder and prostitution. Today, now they're in the top 20 richest country in the world.
No, I agree with you, and I always believe that, and I will support an individual who is looking on the long term, not on the next, in whichever country you're from, the 4 years or 5 years, and how can I win for the next term? And I like governments that will put sound policies in place. And as Ricardo indicated, sometimes those policies may cause them to lose the next election, but in the long run, it benefits the country. And that is what we want. We want leaders who will look for the greater good and not how can I win the next election. And that can't be solely the reason why you are there, to win the next election and not focus on developing and having the country sustained over a longer period of time.
But Sandra, you know pretty well that it's only the intelligent few listen to policy ideas. Whenever they go on the platform, if they're not bashing one another, you're not hearing cheering, When they start to put policy ideas, because I hear Bruce tried to put policy ideas in Port Antonio when he came there. And nobody really was cheering. They wait until they start to bash, and this is not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to listen and look for policy ideas. No, you go too young to know. In the 70s, Michael Manley went to Montego Bay and tell the Jamaican people, his supporters, that Siaga lied from Monday to Saturday, but on Sundays he lied twice. Because he's not going to devalue the Jamaican dollar. It will be depreciated. And people celebrate that the money not devalued and depreciated when they don't know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, it gave me a low opinion of Jamaicans.
But there's a place also for banter in the politics, Richard, and we can't afford to take that away. And if you even watch the UK Parliament, the banter that is there, it's way more than what we see within our politics. So I don't want us to take away the banter from the politics, but I also, respect and appreciate the point that you're making.
Sanjay, I consider myself as an intelligent Jamaican. I vote on issue. I don't cheer party.
Mm-hmm.
East Portland is my constituency. And I'm at odds with my MP because of things that I expect to be done is not been done, and she's a missing person.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want the betterment from my country, when I'm going to live here or not. Because when my
Wait, did I just hear you say Anne-Marie Vaz is a missing person?
I hardly see that. I never see that woman, and I call her officer, I can never get her. So what I'm trying to say, if my neighbor have a job, I feel more secure. I'm not going to be robbed by him or her. And this is what I want to see where Jamaica develop, where people can have a decent way of life. And government cannot solve all of these problems. That's why we need capitalists. And this is why I'm looking at Portland with the new roads coming in. Where are the investment going to come from to create jobs? Because most people go out of the parish to get a job. For one, there's much job here, and they don't pay well here. You get my point, gentlemen.
Yeah, well, certainly the highway will open up the possibilities of investors deciding to, invest in that area. I know one big investor, I can't call the name, but I know that they're waiting on that road to be completed to develop some villas in that area. That much I can tell you.
Yes, because we need it here.
Mm.
Good night, gentlemen.
Yep.
Thanks for
all
the
the
call,
best.
Richard. Respect, man.
Yeah, man. All the best.
Good.
Alric?
What going, man?
What's going on?
Hello, Alric.
Sanjay, what going?
I'm good. How you do?
I'm there.
That's good.
Ricardo.
Mm?
Success is government didn't want to take on the heavy lifting of doing what Nigel Clark did,
Yes, because it was a political minefield.
They respect him for that because they were looking at who want to win the next election.
Yes, it's a political minefield.
And I heard the JTA president this morning, and I was slightly mad at him in my thoughts because somebody who I know very, very well. And he was saying that the teachers, them not getting a good salary because they are not able to go and buy themselves a new house. And if that is the way it's going to look on it, how many countries in the world, all the teachers, salaries can allow them to live that comfortable and buy new house? And it's not only teachers we have to cater for. Policemen, nurses, civil servants, warders. It's a big pay package, a little economy like this.
Mm-hmm.
And Nigel Clark has gone out on the limb and done what no other, neither PNP nor JLP administration or finance minister has ever done it before.
And to be fair, we have to commend him for that. I think that it's akin to political suicide, to take on such a measure with the unions and all the things that are associated with it.
That's what you guys were saying. He's literally throwing his party out to the wolves to see what happens when the next election comes around.
But it was necessary. It was necessary that it was done.
It wasn't necessary, but which one of them did ever do it before?
Mm.
None of them never do it bold enough to do it. And I just didn't like how Mr. Johnson was going on this morning and terminate. Because I know for a fact that they are far better off now than they were a couple of years ago. I'm not saying that is the best, that is what they should get. But for now, I think that is the best that Mr. Clark and this government can do.
But Alric, you also have to remember that unions have a purpose.
Right.
And their presidents, they are there to continuously get more for the people that they represent. So you can't blame him. He's doing what he's employed to do.
That is true, Sanjay. But sometimes you have to balance the equation and stop being the politician or stop being the union leader and just be realistic, man. And just call a spade a spade.
All right, Alric.
By the way, Alric, the people in the YouTube chat asking if you get back your light.
Oh, well, the district has gotten back light. I haven't gotten back any. I don't know how much people around me haven't gotten back. They had it off today and then they turned it on a while ago. I am in darkness still, but the electrician is coming to check because my line went down from the house. And they did some work on it, but because we didn't have any current. But the district has gotten back current. No, I don't know if they're going to turn it back off tomorrow and work again. But light is all around me, so I'm going to see what happens tomorrow.
Okay, right, check your house to see if all is well. We wanted to get back the light.
I had a problem with the wires on my house. It came down.
Yes.
So the electrician is going to come back in the morning. I'm going to find him early because he couldn't check it today because there was no current. They had turned it off and were working between 9 and 6.
All right.
But I must congratulate them. They have done a very good job over the last 3 days for us to get back light in the area. I don't know how many people doesn't have. I know there were some people last night like myself. So I'll check tomorrow.
All right, Alric.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you, Alric.
Then, I feel for some fried dumpling and some ackee and saltfish.
Ricardo, you know, I had some of that last night.
Yeah,
oh, my God.
Me feel some ackee and saltfish. Yeah. But me want ackee just pick. You know, it nice when it just pick and just ox out with some salt. Yeah, and some corn pork. We can get some of that. Bugs. We can get some of that. Oh, you know. Okay, Bugs not to eat the pork. All right. You eat the saltfish though. You eat the saltfish. You eat the saltfish, Nada? So what you eat the ackee with? You don't eat ackee, Bugs? All right, we're gonna give Books some stew chicken with him.
No man, If Books not eat ackee and saltfish, half a Books life gone.
No Books. Yeah, what? You don't eat curry goat, Books? Sitting around there, you know.
You don't eat pork. You don't eat curry goat. You don't eat ackee and saltfish.
He's saying like it's simple. So chicken or fish. So we'll get Books. So either some curry chicken or some stew chicken with thin fried dumpling, and then we mats out the ackee and no God, make up. You know what? You mother tears up.
Ricardo, somebody asking how is it that Ricardo know that when the ackee just speak?
Yeah, man, no, it's fresh, man. I'm more time me going back go pick it and call my grandmother for cook it. Yeah, you know, me can't cook it. Me don't know if because when me cook it, then it gets soft and plucker. So me no bother with it. But you know what? We're telling you, so we're going to lose the cooker because no chef can cook. Anyway, that's all the time we have this evening. Make us see if we can get some ackee and saltfish. Dana Davy, thank you. Bugs, thank you. Cara Powell, thank you. Colleagues in the newsroom, the best in the business, thank you all so much for making Nationwide at 5 possible. Our friends on YouTube, you out there in Radio Land, and if you're listening on the app, thank you for joining us and staying with us. Remember, Paris this morning, tomorrow morning, in the wee hours of the morning. Yep. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Sanjay Lewis, and we're wishing for you a wonderful weekend. All the best.
Good evening.
Good evening.